Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. Welcome to one of the most watched shows in the world, at least on this channel. See, I started it all with a lie when the whole stream is about lying. What do you say about that? David, what's up?
Not surprising, since the kuffar are all liars just like us.
They're lying all the time. They're lying. We are supposed to be the ones who are lying. Only we can lie. So we want to talk about lying. David, you're a big fan of lying as far as I understand. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I love it when these guys lie. There was that Eminem and Rihanna song, "Love the Way You Lie." It's like an Islamic lullaby.
I'm just thinking of Shakira, or her song, which was called "Hips Don't Lie." It's like even hips don't lie, but unfortunately in Islam you can lie. See, that's how bad it is. Terrible, terrible stuff. Anyway, so we have been dealing with Islamic apologists and Dawah dudes a lot. And every time we see them lie about different things, you and I both made videos about these things as well. Oh yeah, somebody said this proves that hips are not Muslims. Yeah, hips are not Muslims. That's true. Yeah, we even made a video about the whole thing about. I remember we made a video about 10 questions to Muslims, and one of your questions was why it's always okay for them to lie, and any other religion or other group of people, they wouldn't just support each other lying. But it seems like in the Dawah scene, it's very, very common that somebody lies and everybody just goes along with it, and nobody even sees it necessary to call them out and correct them.
Yeah, you can. It's interesting. You can expose the lie of one of these guys. So you can have a Dawah guy, and a Dawah guy can be responding to something or arguing something. So it could be like making up an argument, like Ali Dawah. Remember, he had his thing where he was actually he was talking to those two Turkish dudes who sound like Russians, and we go through and like everything he's saying is a lie. So suppose you're an Ali Dawah fan and you watch that video. Oh, alhamdulillah, so brilliant. Well, we gave pretty conclusive proof that he's just lying constantly, right? When he says, oh, this scholar, him say this, yeah, and that proved this. And we show that scholar's never even thought that in his entire life. You're making this up. Note what you never ever see is any of the fans being even slightly bothered by the lies. Or if you say, hey, Mohammed had sex with a 9-year-old girl, and they go, yeah, but Rebecca was 3, and the Catholic Encyclopedia says Mary was 12, and these are all lies. These are all the Catholic Encyclopedia says we have no idea how old she was. So they keep lying, but you can expose the lies to the followers. Never bothers them at all, not a bit. So you've got the Dawah guy and you've got the Dawah fan, and maybe the Dawah fan for a while thinks, oh, this guy speaks the truth. But what happens when you expose the lie? It's not like, oh, I don't trust him anymore. You never see that. You never say, oh, I can't trust this guy anymore, because you've just exposed 50 lies that the guy told. They just don't care. It's like on some level they understand. They all seem to understand that this is just somehow acceptable, as long as it's for purposes of Dawah or purposes of keeping people from believing something else. Then it's all totally legitimate. And what's amazing is you could tell if you said this to them, hey, you guys obviously believe in lying. You do it constantly, all day, every day. They say, no, all we believe is the truth because Islam is the truth. And it's like your actions show the exact opposite of what you're telling us about Islam being the truth.
That is exactly right. And I mean, I just had a live stream. We just had a live stream the other day, like 2 days ago, of a major thing happening in Gaza, and then the story was all that Israel bombed people, or started shooting at people and killed a bunch of people, and nobody even bothered like acknowledging, oh, wait a minute, that was actually a mistake. No, they just ran with it and never even corrected it. Months ago, an explosion happened in a parking lot at a hospital, and they said 500 people were killed, and it was an Israeli airstrike. Turned out it wasn't an Israeli airstrike. It was a misfired rocket, and there's no way to ever verify how many people died here because there's no evidence at all, and nobody ever bothered correcting it. During wartime, it looks like it's like everything is being flooded with lies all the time, and it looks like the Islamist side, the Muslim side, feels very comfortable lying to the world all the time, not correcting themselves, not bothering about the truth at all. When you show them the truth of the matter, they simply ignore it and continue lying again, which makes it look like lying is okay under certain circumstances. Like they're not supposed to lie. Lying is a bad thing, not supposed to lie. But under certain circumstances, if it serves their agenda, that means that then lying is an acceptable thing. It really totally depends on the situation. When it benefits them, it's all right. Is that a thing in Islam, David? Don't you agree that Islam totally is against lying and that there's no circumstance under which lying is allowed?
No, that's false.
That's very Islamophobic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so lots of people have heard of like taqiyya and so on, and we don't want to overstate it. Like you don't get the impression that it's just okay to lie as much as you want in any circumstances. But you get the idea that it's significantly more allowed than Muslims grant when they describe taqiyya. When they're talking about taqiyya, they're saying, hey, if someone's about to kill you for being a Muslim and you say, I'm not a Muslim, that's all taqiyya is. And so it's just saying you could avoid dying by lying and so on. Where if you look in their sources, you can say, no, it's significantly more situations than that. So anyway, if I were to just think about the Muslim sources, like, just Quran and Hadith, I would say, okay, they're certainly allowed to lie quite a bit. But the Dawah guys, I don't know, they really seem to think anytime you are defending Islam, you can make up anything you want. And anytime you're criticizing another person's position or responding to their arguments, you can lie as much as you want. The community understands that you can lie as much as you want. They're not going to hold it against you. They're just going to mindlessly agree with anything you say and keep cheering for it. And so it's they've created a monster of deception, and it's pretty creepy. You wonder how long it can last, because even though the Dawah fans, they just go along with it. I mean, other people are watching this stuff.
We'll be watching. David, what's happening with your microphone?
What? Something wrong with it?
There was just a terrible sound. Like it just suddenly did this weird screeching sound.
Don't know. All my equipment's screwed up.
Really?
Oh, this mic is. Wait, what's this?
Screwed up. Okay. Anyway, yes, it's working. It's working very, very brilliantly. I looked at this thing. I have been kind of stuck on the whole lying aspect because Islam seems to be the lying king here because of just all of these recent instances of lies being spread on social media. What do you think of the Lion King, by the way, David?
Yeah.
So here's a tweet.
The Lion King.
Yeah, so here's a tweet, for example, by this guy who happens to be an Islamist, who has like Bismillah, proud Muslim, and this and that, and on his profile picture is none other than a gentleman by the name of Goebbels, and on here he has this thing. A Muslim said this, oh wait, and then he puts a nose here and says the wealthy Jews rule the world. The fate of the governments lies in their hands. They start wars between countries. And when they wish, the governments make peace. When the wealthy Jews sing, the nations and their leaders dance along. And meanwhile, the Jews get richer. Theodor Herzl, completely made up quote. It's like, it doesn't exist at all. And you call them out on this. I call them out on this. What they do is to argue with me and to go on and add more lies. But because currently they are in a state of war, I guess, and during a war, it is completely all right for them to lie and to even make up something so blatantly, obviously fake and spread it around without any regard at all for what the actual truth is.
Wait, so you're saying that a Muslim here makes up a quote, lies, you expose the lie, and then they all attack you for exposing the lie rather than say, "Oh, well, we condemn this guy and we're gonna go to him and tell him he needs to stop
Yeah,
making stuff up."
exactly.
That's interesting. That's interesting because I experience that 5,000 times a day, AP.
Oh no, that can't be right. I do not believe you. I'm sorry. However, there is an issue here, which is that there is a very well-known hadith, a narration attributed to Muhammad. So it says, the messenger of Allah said, the person who lies in order to conciliate between people is not a liar when he conveys good or says something good. Okay, all right. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. But then there is this. A narration in Muslim added, she said, I never heard him giving permission of lying in anything except in three things: war, conciliating between people and the conversation of a man with his wife, and the conversation of a woman with her husband. So it is allowed under different circumstances. Lying is allowed under different circumstances, including in war.
Yeah, and one of the issues there, though, their concept of war
Yeah.
is much broader than two armies marching out against each other, right? Like they view us in a war right now. So they're in a war to establish Islam, and therefore lying is acceptable.
Yeah. So you could say, okay, war is a terrible state. You have to, deception is necessary in war, but that's not what this is about. This is not a war is deception, or deception will win during a war issue. It is that that Muslims are allowed to explicitly lie during war, and when you read the Quran, for example, in chapter 5, verse 33, it talks about waging war against Allah and His Messenger. The logic there has always been that you can't physically wage war against Allah, and even in His Messenger nowadays. And anyone who just opposes Islam, spreads corruption, this and that, is basically waging war. When we go out here and we speak against Islam, for example, we are waging war against Islam. We are the enemies, which is why these people will frequently refer to David Wood and me and others as the enemies of Islam. Enemies of Islam. That's what it is. And in such a state, they can lie. Lying is all right. I even read some scholarly thing about this. Here's for example a take by the what is this? The Islam QA, the Hanafi school. Here the scholars say, for example, the three cases explained in the hadith are when a man speaks to his wife or a wife to her husband concerning matters that will increase the love between them, to show to his wife more love for her than he actually possesses in his heart, or to say other than the reality concerning the food, etc., to please her. All right. At times of war is a tactic or to demoralize the enemy and win the war. When a person is intermediating in order to bring about reconciliation between two disputing parties, and so on. To tell one party the other said such a good thing about him, even though he did not hear such from him. This even is already looks problematic. You're trying to make peace between people, and you're like, hey, you know what? He even said about you that you are a very reliable and very good person.
Yeah, so you got Sheikh Uthman, right? You got Sheikh Uthman. He his buddy sends a wife to Sheikh Uthman for marital counseling. Sheikh Uthman ends up banging her and marrying her so this woman is married to two guys at once. And so if you're a third party in that situation, what you would do is you'd go to the guy and be like, oh yeah. Sheikh Uthman says he's really, really sorry. Yeah, he says he's sorry. Now, what's your response to that? Oh, you forgive him? You forgive him? Oh, okay. And you go back to Sheikh Uthman. Yeah. He just said, you know what? He forgives you of all that. No problem at all. He's going to keep his mouth shut. So you just keep going back and forth between them and lying. And somehow that fixes everything. And Islam says, yep, that's good.
So what is your problem with lying, David, when it's just a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
When it's a wonderful, good thing to bring peace, to conceal the bad stuff, and to just pretend everything is good, to push it out, to sweep it all under the rug. What do you think is bad about that?
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a certain Quran verse here, which some people find very problematic, like David, for example. I'm not sure why. But so the Quran says on different occasions that Allah is very, very good at different things, including deception. Why does it say that? Like I don't understand why it says that. Because Allah is obviously the creator and he's the best and all of that, and he would not deceive people. But it says, for example, that they schemed, that Allah schemed, and he's the best of schemers. He planned, Allah planned, he's the best of planners, plotted, and he's the best of plotters, and so on. So it looks like Allah is a deceiver. He likes to deceive, he likes to scheme, he likes to make plots, and so on. And he's described as the best of them, the best of deceivers. So now here's the thing. If you if you believe that your Almighty Allah is a guy who describes himself proudly in his book as the greatest of deceivers, the greatest of those who plot, the greatest of those who scheme, the greatest of those who plan in a plot, then it kind of looks like this is a good quality, right? This is like something worthy of praise, because Allah is the greatest of all those. So for you to also be a deceiver, to be great at deceiving, to be great at plotting and scheming, should also be good, right? It's also a praiseworthy thing. There is no issue with it. It's not something that is deemed, detestable, bad, but necessary. No, it is worthy of praise.
Hey, yo.
So,
and you've got the Muslims who, because makar just means like deception, but so Allah's the best of those who do makar, so he's the best of those who do deception. And they'll translate it and say schemers or plotters or planners or something like that, which is okay as long as you keep in mind that it's the sort of scheming and plotting and planning that involve deception. You're using deception to overthrow the plans of your enemies. In fact, go to the very next verse. So here you have it. 355, right? Now, going with the traditional Muslim understanding, there are alternatives. There are Ismaili Muslims who interpret this differently, and so on. But when Allah said, "Oh, Jesus, indeed, I will take you and raise you to myself and purify, i.e. free you from those who disbelieve and make those who follow you superior to those who disbelieve until the day of resurrection," the traditional Muslim understanding of this verse is linked to 4:157, where people are scheming and plotting to execute Jesus. So there's a big plot. They're lying about Jesus to get him executed. But then Allah tricks and deceives them into thinking that Jesus was crucified, even though he wasn't. And he actually got someone else, and he basically tricked everyone. So it's, hey, you guys are scheming against Jesus, lying about him to get him in trouble. But I'm better at this than you. I'm better at this game than you are.
that's pretty bad. And then there's also, of course, the other verse, which is chapter 8, verse 30, which says, and when those who disbelieve plotted against you, or made a scheme against you to capture you or to kill you and to evict you, but and they plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. Often people simply just take this part here from a translation like this and say, oh, look, Allah says they plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. Allah has a plan. Just trust the plan. But that's not what it is. Like, the context here is about them plotting, tricking, or trying to plot against Muhammad in order to capture or kill him. And Allah says, talks about that plot, how they are trying to, plot against him and scheme against him. But Allah is the better schemer.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to see how Allah does this, go same chapter, same passage. Go down to verse 43.
How Allah does this in 43. Let's see.
So Sahih International, remember, O Muhammad, when Allah showed them to you in your dream as few, and if he had shown them to you as many, you believers would have lost courage and would have disputed in the matter of whether to fight. But Allah saved you from that. Indeed, he is knowing of that within the breast. So this should be massively disturbing. Muslims say, so going back to the issue of 355. So 354 says that Allah is the best of deceivers. Other people try to do it, but Allah does it better. And the immediate context, 355, is Allah tricking and deceiving people into thinking Jesus died when he didn't. But guess what? Even Jesus' followers believed that he was crucified because of Allah's deception. So Allah will actually trick even devout Muslims. He'll trick even Muslims, right? And that's Allah doing it. So when Muslims want to say, the gospel's been corrupted, well, I open up the gospel, it says Jesus died on the cross. How'd that happen? Who corrupted that? Allah did. So Allah even tricks people and starts false religions. But then right there in 343, so in 843, in 830, you showed again that Allah is once again the best of deceivers. The context is once you get down to verse 43, that Allah had tricked the entire ummah. Allah had deceived the ummah. So this is the Battle of Badr. The Meccans are coming. Muslims know the Meccans are coming. And it's actually they say around 1,000 or something like that, Meccans coming. And Allah, according to the passage, knows that if they know they're outnumbered, they're not going to trust Allah and they're not going to go out and fight. So they're going to be cowards and they're going to stay at home. Even if Allah orders them to go fight, and Muhammad orders them to go fight, they're not going to fight because they're going to be too scared. So what Allah does is he gives Muhammad a dream, in which case, it's just a few people showing up. We can beat them. We're going to have them totally outnumbered because it's just a few people protecting their caravan. So Muhammad gets his dream and he stands up to his fans, to his followers, and says, I have a revelation. There's not a lot of these guys, ladies and gentlemen. There's very few of them. We can take them. It's very few. My revelation says so. They get out there. The Muslims get out there. We can take these guys. There's only like a couple of them. Ha, ha, ha. They go out there. They're totally outnumbered. But then Muhammad gives the guarantee that anyone who dies in battle goes to paradise and stuff. This turns the tide. They eventually win the Battle of Badr. Then they come back. Hey, well, what's up with that dream that you had? You have a dream. There's only a few guys. And then Allah answers in verse 43. Allah answers, if I had told you the truth, you wouldn't have gone out and fought. So I had to deceive Muhammad and deceive you Muslims through Muhammad by giving him a false dream. I had to do that to get you to go out and fight. So what's Allah saying here? That it's perfectly acceptable to lie to get people to do what you want. The creepy thing is that he will lie and deceive people even through his prophets. And we've seen the impact that has. Abu Bakr famously said, if I had one foot in paradise, I would still fear Allah's deception. And that was a man who had been guaranteed, who was one of a handful of people who was guaranteed paradise by Muhammad. Muhammad said he didn't know what Allah was going to do with him, but he guaranteed paradise to certain people. And Abu Bakr was one of them. And Abu Bakr would still say, if I had one foot in paradise, I would still fear Allah's deception, meaning, hey, I see all my virgins, got all my virgins decked out for me there. I'm about to step into paradise. I got one foot in there, and Allah, I'm tricking you. I'm sending you to hell. And that what that means is that interpretation, according to Abu Bakr, would be Allah tricked me into believing I was going to heaven, and even tricked me through Muhammad to believe, because he wanted me to do certain things. And yet, and where would he get the idea? Where would he get the idea that God could deceive him through a prophet? Right there, 843. It had happened before. Allah had tricked the entire Muslim community into doing things by deceiving them.
That's fantastic. All I want to say in response to that is,
liar! You're a liar!
That's all I want to say. That's all I can say at this point. I don't know. I can see all my virgins, but I'm still scared. Yeah.
Yeah. One final thought on that issue. Okay. Abu Bakr, it clearly affected him. He got the point. We are dealing in Islam with a deity who is a cosmic trickster, deceiver. He's more like Loki. He loves to make mischief and so on, and loves to lie. That's the God we're dealing with. Well, how do I know when that God is telling me the truth and when he isn't? Well, I don't know that. The creepy part, because if you ask Muslims, why did Allah trick everyone into thinking, because you're not just talking about the people who were there, you're talking about generations, even down to today, billions of people, every historian on the planet, they all believe Jesus died by crucifixion. Where did they get that idea? Allah tricked all of them. If you ask why Allah did that, you say, I don't know, maybe he just really didn't like the Jews when they were trying to do something, so he just deceived them, and he just, kept deceiving generation after generation after generation. The creepy thought there is, if you believe that Allah will deceive the Muslim followers of Jesus and trick and deceive them into believing false things, and just say, well, maybe he doesn't like Jews, so he did that. Okay, how do you know he just didn't like Arabs, and so he sent Muhammad with a bunch of deception? How do you know that? You
That is a
can't.
good point.
Yeah, you can't know with Allah. You don't know when he's deceiving you and when he's not. He will deceive you through his prophets. He will deceive the devout believers. Allah doesn't care. He could be tricking anyone at any time.
Can you imagine buying a car from Allah? Like,
Oh, you got to make a video. Would you buy a car from Allah? Dude, making that video. Would you buy a car from Allah? Would you buy a used car from Allah?
I would never buy a used car from Allah. Like, who knows what's
There
going
you
to come out of that? Like, yeah, that's perfect video right there.
Abu Bakr says no. Abu Bakr says, how about no?
Yeah.
How about no? I don't buy your Allah.
I don't buy your car. Man. Then there is also the issue, of course, of you brought this up to me before the stream, actually, which was the commentary on, or you also just mentioned it, didn't you? On chapter 3, verse, what was that?
Which one?
328.
328, yeah.
Yeah, Ibn Kathir's commentary on smiling into the face of the disbelievers.
Read that entire passage.
Yeah. Okay. You want all of it like this, or
you don't need to. I mean, you can, but yeah, just the part that's relevant there.
So it says, those who disbelieve are allies of one another, and if you do not behave the same, there will be fitna and oppression on the earth, and the great mischief and corruption. Allah said next, unless you indeed fear a danger from them, meaning, except those believers. You might want
to pull up 328 so people can see what that's, because that's part of 3. That's part of 328 there.
That's true. So here is it. Here is this. Chapter 3, verse 28. I posted so much about this lately. I should have thought about this immediately. It says, let not believers take the disbelievers as allies or as friends, rather than the believers. And whoever of you does that has nothing with Allah, except when taking precaution against them in prudence. And Allah warns you of himself, and to Allah is the destination. So don't take the disbelievers as friends unless you are totally forced to.
And this is why I say that, one aspect of taqiyya is if someone's got a sword to your throat and says, I'm going to kill you because you're a Muslim, you can say, what are you talking about? I'm not a Muslim. I don't like those guys. Or if you're a Shia, let's say, and Sunnis are about to kill you, you can say, what? Shia? I don't believe in that stuff. You can do that according to Islam. So that is true. But notice what this verse is actually saying. This verse isn't saying, hey, if they're going to kill you, then you can lie about what you believe. This verse says you don't be friendly towards them. Don't be friendly towards these guys unless you need to deceive them as protection against yourselves. In other words, if you were to be in an area where you're completely outnumbered by the unbelievers, that is not a good time to start telling them what you actually think and that you actually want to subjugate them. It's not a good time. So be friendly towards them in those situations. If you're outnumbered, if you're in their country, you're outnumbered, you can't win a physical confrontation, that is a time to pretend that all you ever want with them is peace and tolerance. That's straight out of the Quran, and this verse uses a word. This is where we get the word taqiyya from in this verse. But yeah, check out the commentary because it's pretty creepy.
Straight out of Quran. This is
Straight out of Corrumpton. That's funny.
Straight out of Corrumpton. So here it says then, except those believers who in some areas or times fear for their safety from the disbelievers. In this case, such believers are allowed to show friendship to the disbelievers outwardly, but never inwardly. For instance, Al-Bukhari recorded that Abu Darda said, wait a minute, said, "We smile in the face of some people, although our hearts curse them."
Mm-hmm. We
And
smile in the face of some people, although our hearts curse them. So you're smiling outwardly. No, we're friends. We love you. Yeah, yeah. All we want is peace and tolerance. Inwardly, die, die, die. Allah curse you. Allah curse you. Allah curse you.
Allah curse you, Allah curse you, Allah curse you. I'm trying to make this big on the screen, that's why. So we smile in the face of some people, although our hearts curse them. The tuqya is allowed until the day of resurrection.
And that's important because you'll have Sunnis say, no, taqiyya is just a Shia practice. This is the greatest Sunni commentator of all time. He said, and he quotes Al-Hussain, Muhammad's companion. So guys, if you don't know who these people are, Abu Darda and Al-Hussain, these are companions of Muhammad. And Ibn Kathir is quoting them to show how their understanding of 328. Abu Darda says, we smile in their faces while we curse them in our hearts. And Al-Hussain said, taqiyya is allowed until the day of resurrection. So this is not just a Shia practice. This is standard Sunni Islam.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why I say hips don't lie. So Velvet Jazz jamming with the live show on a Saturday night. Thank you so much, Velvet Jazz. Very nice to have you here. Very happy to have you here. Mick the name said Lord God and Savior equals Jesus Christ. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Although I don't believe, I will say I feel humiliated and subjugated by the €5 that are contained in the super chat, which is why I feel obligated to read this. This is basically oppression, like Christian oppression right here.
Mm-hmm. It's literally genocide.
Literally ethnic cleansing. So yeah, but still, thank you. I have to thank you. Noah Walters made a super chat of €25. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Very, very nice. Very, very good. Abu Bakr Al Pafdadi said, would AP and David Wood consider hosting a trip to and tour of Israel for people like Jordan Peterson and Candace Owens?
We'd be happy. We'd be happy to contact them and say, hey, we want you guys to roll to Israel with David Wood and the Apostate Prophet, and they'll show you around.
Yeah.
And we will gladly go stay right in the old city of Jerusalem, right beside the Muslim quarter, to show them that it is a really sweet place.
Yes.
How many times were we over there? We're like, gosh, we should just move here, man. It's awesome.
I know, right? We did say that quite often. Quite often. Flame of Prometheus said people lie, but Zebubas never lie. This is a good point.
Never lie. Mm-hmm.
It's a good point because the Zebubas are not liars.
Liar! You're a liar!
CEO said, hey, brother.
And the bigger the lie, the worse it is, but the bigger the Zebubas, the better.
You know what, lately, since I have been following all the political stuff and all the drama, whenever I think of lying, the first thing that comes to mind is this guy here. Like, this guy's face here. It's just
yeah. Wait, I forgot who that is.
This is Suleiman Ahmed on
I see his stuff all the time. Yeah,
on Twitter, and
he's like stupid face.
One of the most fact-checked and community-noted people on Twitter, because he's constantly spreading lies, constantly posting all kinds of fake news, never bothering to acknowledge that he's wrong. Even when it's like proven that he's wrong, he's like, oh no, but the context, the general message is still correct.
Wasn't this the guy? I think he wasn't this guy even before the October 7th war broke out? Wasn't he the guy who was going around harassing Tate's victims to try and shut them up? Yeah, he's defending
big defender of Andrew Tate, and he spent quite some time very and privately attacking the victims of Andrew Tate. So very
don't let him. You're right, Suleiman. Don't let him give you no lip there. Gotta put those ladies in there, and it's okay because they're not good girls. They're not good girls. They were doing webcam stuff after Tate manipulated them into doing it.
Yeah, that's very, very bad. Hey, brother, a Muslim told me he would leave Islam if I showed him a few different versions of the Quran. Will you help me? I've messaged Khatun Ministry, but I don't know if I will get a response.
That's actually pretty easy. Just pull up a site that compares. There's a bunch of different versions, but just pull up a site that compares Hafs and Warsh. That's very easy to do. Sit down with your friend, pull up Hafs and Warsh side by side, and they give you a ton of examples. Very easy to find.
That's so there are lots of different versions.
Yeah, look up. Just do a search, and this will pull the site up. I'm talking to him.
I know.
Pull up differences between Hafs and Warsh Quran, and you'll get plenty of examples.
I heard there are 72 different versions. Yes.
Hey, that would be funny. Muslims show up to paradise, and it's 72 different versions of the Quran.
Yeah, we said versions, not virgins. CEO, hey bro, yeah, I already read this, man. What's your problem? Messianic Apostate, hey, what's up? Said, fun fact, Hamas once had a collaborative alliance with an ISIS-affiliated group called Wilayat Sinai. Hamas supporters never talk about this. Hamas had a lot of different things. You know what the funny thing about Hamas is on October 7th?
It's real funny, AP. That's real funny.
It's like the funniest thing ever. Hamas October 7 narrative developed from we did not attack civilians to we did attack civilians, but it was chaos, and it wasn't on purpose. Then we did attack civilians, it was an accident. Then we did attack civilians, but those civilians got in the way. Then another group that came after us actually attacked the civilians, and so on. Then when it came to sexual violence, they said it is a complete lie that there's rape and sexual violence. Then they said, actually, it was another group that also came from Gaza after we breached the fences that came and perpetrated sexual violence. Then later they said again that the sexual violence is all a lie by the Zionists and Israelis. So this is the group, this is a terrorist group that we're dealing with, that some people actually trust because they are Islamists and supporters of Islamists. Here we have another guy here. This is I saw this earlier. It says a believer cannot be a liar, but then he explains here briefly how.
I think that person really loves you. I heard they said this about you, right? You're trying your best to bring two people together. The Prophet ﷺ is saying that's not a liar. That's a person who's trying to do good. That's a person who's trying to bring people together. And so the three things the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, al-harb, in war, wal-islahu bayna nas, and bringing people together.
So in war, it is allowed. And we have a different case also. We recently had this very interesting case of Ali Dawah and Mohammed Hijab coming together and saying some really interesting things about lying to your spouse. You remember this, David? Let's see.
Die for their sisters, will take a bullet for their sisters, but will not share their husbands for their sisters.
Shameful, disgusting people. They will not share their husbands with their sisters. What?
Yes. And what? I was about to say, and there are men who won't share their wives with their brothers.
Terrible people. Terrible people.
And there's even the evil people who won't share their little daughters with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine? You supposedly care so much about your sisters that you don't share your husband with them, or that you care so much about your brothers that you don't share your wife with them? Unbelievable, man.
Feminist sisters who love their sisters, who will die for their sisters, will take a bullet for their sisters, but will not share their husbands for their sisters.
See, this is why you should be listening to the Muslim apologists all the time. They want to bring a future where people share their husbands with their sisters. Alhamdulillah, this is the beauty of Islam.
You can lie to your spouse. You can lie to your spouse.
So can they lie in the context of, for example, if one says, I sense that you've got a second wife, can he say, no, I don't?
Yes, you can. You can say that.
You can say that.
Yes, I personally believe this is the Prophet said you can do it.
White lies?
It doesn't have to be white. It can be a black lie. If someone does this and they get caught, for example, or something happens, or yani, some negative.
Or she just asks him, where were you last night?
Yeah, but even that, he can lie. The man can do it. It's up to the man. No woman can take that right away from the man.
I was giving Dawah, and by Dawah I mean my penis. I was giving Dawah to some sisters.
And believe me, it was some really good Dawah. They loved it.
Right. The man can
I gave him all the Dawah. What's wrong with these guys, man?
I'm so tired. I gave him Dawah all night long.
Guys, so think about this. I mean, we point out what Allah and Muhammad say, and then we point out like this has an impact. These guys constantly lie, and here they're just saying, yeah. If you want to be out there banging some other ladies, getting second marriages, getting muta marriages, whatever it is, whoever you're out there banging, and you can come back and your wife can be like, where were you? I'm like, oh, well, I was giving Dawah. I was giving Dawah. They're saying it. They're flat out saying it. How would you trust these guys to tell you the truth on pretty much anything if they're just acknowledging they can lie about stuff like this to the people they're supposed to love most in this world, their own wives?
That is a good point. It's always something to consider, always something to keep in the back of your mind. Muslims go around, these Islamists, these guys go around trying to convince people that Islam is the truth, and they say, and they pretend to be telling you the whole truth, but here they are sitting talking about how it's totally fine to lie to your wife, like the supposedly, at least in our culture, in the non-Islamic cultures, the closest person in your life. Quite often you are allowed to lie to them while having sex with somebody else and say, well, I was doing Dawah. I had this big urge to do Dawah, and that's where I was. Don't bother me, please.
And when we expose these guys for just lying in arguments and so on, their fans just go with them. No, they speak the truth. These guys are telling you they will lie to you. Ladies, these guys are telling you, even if you married one of them, they would be happy to lie to you. You think they're telling the truth to us? My goodness.
Yeah, I was in the barn. I was doing Dawah.
I was in the barn with a goat doing Dawah.
Oh, man.
I was almost... Can you lie to your wife about a goat?
Why were you in the barn all night? I was doing Dawah. I was practicing my Dawah with the goat.
And you'd actually have the parallel there with hey Muhammad, what were you doing with Dia al-Kalbi? Oh no, that was the angel Gabriel who was over here banging. I mean, who was over here talking to me.
Magnum Opus says vitamin D Dawah. That sounds pretty good. 9-year-olds, $5 for 3 hours muta.
It is messed up when you read the sources. They would say they would give the woman a garment or a handful of flour or something like that to do muta with them, so the temporary marriage for a couple hours.
Yeah. So Pierre says, well, even before the war, terrorist attackers that were killed in their acts were reported around the world as Israel killed 2 Palestinians. Yeah. We see it all the time. I just right now, this brings to mind something actually that I saw from Omar Suleiman quite recently actually. It's just a demonstration to show that Islamic scholars have no problem lying right now about the conflict, about everything that is going on. They have no problem at all lying. They were he recently made a tweet. Oh yeah, here it is. Look at this. So the guy has to be either very stupid or just be lying. So here's Omar Suleiman saying, despite 30,000 murdered civilians, millions starving, genocide in full swing. Look, the case here is, we talk a lot and we disagree and we fight a lot under the current circumstances, but the issue here is not a disagreement. This is not a disagreement. This is a blatant lie. He says, despite 30,000 murdered civilians, there are the total death count is around 30,000 right now.
Yeah. So
In order
every
to-
single person. He's
Yeah.
he's basically telling the same lie Mohammed Hijab told, that this 100-to-1 ratio or something like that. Or in this guy's case, it's even. It's the only people killed are civilians. They haven't gotten any Hamas.
Yeah. This guy's here blatantly lying and claiming that all the deaths in Gaza are civilians. That's it. And
Hey, wait, millions starving.
millions
Hang on.
starving.
How many people
Genocide in full swing.
live in Gaza? 590,000.
Yeah. I
So-
think there is a I think they count that as higher actually, because there's also they don't count the full population. Wait a second. It is actually it is 2 million.
Oh,
It's 2
okay.
million.
So, and they're all starving, every last one of them.
Yeah, every single one is starving. Yeah,
Interesting. Wow, that sucks.
every single one is starving.
The whole bunch of them.
So every Israeli is a legitimate target to attack and capture and kill and rape. Everyone on the side of Hamas, even if they're combatants and they just killed somebody, are civilians. And everybody in Gaza is starving right now.
And just notice the word, like even before you get to genocide, it's murdered civilians. You normally don't talk about civilian casualties of a war as murdered. Like you don't say the British murdered a bunch of people when they bombed Dresden and so on.
yeah.
But here you do. It's all murder. It's all murder. Every last one is a civilian. No one's Hamas. And that's your genocide.
And again, this is not a disagreement here. This is not something where you can say, "Oh, to you it's not civilians, but to him it is." No, it's not. This is objectively false. No matter where you stand in this conflict, this is objectively false. Murdered civilians, like even Hamas themselves, acknowledged weeks ago that they said, and you can't trust their numbers. They said that that's 70% of deaths, or more than 70% of deaths, are civilians. That's what they said. That's what Hamas said. That's what Hamas said. 70% of deaths are civilians. Now, I don't trust their numbers at all, but even Hamas announces that. And this Islamic scholar here, who is the most well-known, the most recognized Islamic scholar in America, in politics, says 30,000 murdered civilians, which is just an outright lie. There's no discussion around this.
And so think about it. So you got Omar Suleiman and Mohammed Hijab. Mohammed Hijab said they're being killed at a 100-to-1 ratio. What we can say is that Hamas propagandists are massively more honest than these guys are, right?
Yeah.
Like we would doubt anything basically that Hamas says, but Hamas less than these guys are. Hamas is far closer to the truth than the famous Dawah guys on Twitter.
It's amazing. So
So if you have Hamas jihadis telling you something, or a Dawah guy, believe the Hamas jihadis before you believe the Dawah guys.
that's what it looks like.
In the context of, for example, if one says, I sense that you've got a second wife, can he say, no, I don't?
Yes, you can. You can say that.
You can say that.
Yeah, you can do whatever. You can say whatever. You say I was with a
Oh,
goat.
that's good, because that's what I've been doing. Yeah. now I know.
Here we have our little dilly Hussain. He just made a tweet today, and it's like you don't even have to go far. It's like they're basically lying every day nowadays. This guy says the vast majority of the Israeli women in this picture are IDF soldiers or reservists. This is about so Aviva Klumpus, whom we met in Israel. She made a post about women still captive by Hamas, still kept in Gaza by Hamas. And Dilly says the vast majority of the Israeli women in this picture are IDF soldiers or reservists. That's not true. That's not true. Most of these were captured as non-combatants. You can call somebody a reservist when they signed up for reserve, when they can be called at some point. But under the circumstances, they are non-combatants. They are civilians. By international law, they are civilians. You can't take them away. That is hostage taking and is illegal under international law. And he has no proof that these are vastly civilians. That these are vastly soldiers or reservists. I know for a fact that just 1, 2, 3, 4, most of these were non-combatants when they were taken. I think the only one is this one that I recognize, who was taken as she was an active soldier. So these are just, and the guy doesn't fact check this. He doesn't provide any evidence. If you disagree with him on this and ask for the receipts, he will not provide them. He will just stick to it because it doesn't matter. These guys lie, and they are happy about it. They don't care about the truth. They think it's okay to capture a bunch of people and take them hostages. A bunch of people who didn't do anything to anyone, to take them and to do whatever they do to them. Rochester said none of the hostages were combatants. Were the women and children Hamas took combatants? Yeah, I'm not even sure if any of these were active soldiers when they were taken, to be honest. But this claim here is just completely false. It's a complete lie, and this guy has no problem with these lies. That's what
there are no consequences for his followers. There are no consequences. You can lie right to their faces, as long as you're doing it to support Islam. It's all good.
Yeah. And you will not get a response like, oh, wait a minute, so he lied? I didn't know that. And you will not get him retracting this and saying, oh, guys, okay, yeah, I was wrong. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. To them, lying is okay if it serves the purpose. That's what it is. That's what they do.
Urinating upon
let me get
women?
this.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Let me get this. So this is in their Sharia manual, Reliance to the Traveler. And they quote Ghazali. Imam Abu Hamid al-Ghazali says, speaking is a means to achieve objectives. If a praiseworthy aim is attainable through both telling the truth and lying, it is unlawful to accomplish through lying because there's no need for it. When it is possible to achieve such an aim by lying, but not by telling the truth, it is permissible to lie if attaining the goal is permissible. So if there's no reason to lie, if it's not accomplishing anything, then don't lie, tell the truth. But if you can only get what you want by lying, then lie. And it's permissible to lie if attaining the goal is permissible. So if the goal you're going after, destruction of Israel or something like that, is permissible, then lying to get it is permissible.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it is. This is the religion that we're dealing with. Is anyone ever surprised at all at this point? I'm really, really, really wondering. That's what we're dealing with. Let's see. Ari Wasserman said, I love Islam. Hey, Ari, what's up? I love Islam. It brings me to know about imaginary airstrikes, the sharmuta, and promiscuous children. Yes. Children. Go top Dawah guys lie to you. We will lie with you.
What's wrong with you, man?
That's smart. That's smart, Goat. Huh? This is some smart advertising, right?
Use code GOAT don't lie.
Oh, guys, lie to you. We will lie with you. Just give us a call, baby. Use code GOAT don't lie for 50% off. This is very smart, I must admit. Piano Mirror 48 said, have you seen the guy in Englistan that was given 2 years for making stickers that might offend Momo the Prophet fans recently? Did you see that, David?
Nope.
I do not know about it. I must check it out. And see if there is a truth to it and why it is. Of course, 2 years is not enough. Should get 10 years for offending Muhammad. Yeah. Jordan Shoy said, if I had to choose between 1.5 billion kebabs and a tub of sabra hummus, I choose the sabra hummus. This is good. Did you like hummus? We ate a lot of hummus over there, I think.
They have hummus with pretty much everything,
Hummus.
which is good because I like hummus. But man, if I didn't like hummus, I would be pretty ticked off that they're giving it to me with every single thing you order over there.
Eat hummus and kill Hamas. Eat hummus and kill Hamas. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So, in other news, in the online streamer pop culture, there has been some drama going on, which you might not be aware of because you are too advanced, and this is all intellectually beneath you, David. I'm sorry to go very low right now, but there has been drama going on about a streamer or streamer helper named Frogan, and she is a very strange person. And she apparently, so what happens is that recently somebody, this guy Ethan Klein, talked about how she complained about her therapist being Jewish or being a Zionist and all that, and then she said, when I say my therapist was a Zionist when I went to her back in 2019, I mean she literally brought up that I was Lebanese unprompted and confronted me on it, saying she was Israeli. She asked if I had a problem with that, if I felt like Israel had the right to exist, started asking more and more if I was frustrated with Islam and have considered taking off my hijab. I asked her if she was all right with me being Lebanese, and she got really aggressive, accusing me of flipping it on her, and refused to answer. So when I say Zionist, I don't mean she was Jewish. I mean she was a racist Israeli who could not help herself but to confront me about my ethnicity in what was supposed to be a therapy session. Now, first off, this doesn't sound at all like any Zionist or Jewish person. What happened here? So,
yeah, and by the way, that's when we see that lying is so common in your community, even when you tell a story that's hypothetically true, because lying is so common. I don't trust anything unless you guys verify it. Or unless I know you and I've known you. Like, I didn't think Nabil was lying to me because I knew him. But if it's just a random person on Twitter, oh, let me tell you the latest horror story. Yeah, guys, anyone can make something. I can say right now, guys, I went to my doctor the other day. He was a Muslim and he stabbed me 50 times. That's easy.
Really?
It's just easy to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, guys, it happened. That reminds me of when Sheikh Uthman got the note that they were going to kill him to stop his powerful Dawah. Like, oh, look at my note. This is before his bigger hate crime. He got away with that one, so he escalated. Yeah. But and then you posted a thing saying, oh, look, I got a note saying, oh, AP, we will stop you from this. But like, people took it seriously because they know you and trust you and realize you're making fun of him. Anyway. That's the issue. You can't take anything these guys say seriously. And it's this boy who cried wolf scenario. Like, even if they had a story of something that actually happened, I couldn't believe them without verification because they're such compulsive liars.
It's such a funny thing. Like, an actual therapist, a trained therapist with a license, actually sat down, and because she said I'm Lebanese. Oh no, just out of nowhere said, so it looks like you're Lebanese. I'm Israeli. Are you bothered by this? Do you want to leave Islam? Yeah, totally. That totally.
Yes, Muhammad's a false prophet. He was a pedophile. Who's a pedophile?
And Destiny said, of all the things that have absolutely never happened, this never happened the most. And the funny thing also is that people went back to what she initially said back in 2019. So this guy, Willie Mack, says, LOL, how the F did this story change so drastically? Because this is what she actually tweeted years ago in 2019. Like, I just went to therapy for the first time, and after talking about my dad fleeing the Israel-Lebanon war, she was like, I'm Israeli. Do you have any issues with me being a therapist? Bro, I was so taken aback. That's all she tweeted back then in 2019. So she goes to a therapist. And after talking about my dad fleeing the Israel-Lebanon war, the therapist says, I'm Israeli. Do you have any issues with me being your therapist? And she's shocked by this. Now, I'm not sure if this actually happened. Not sure if this happened, but It looks like there is not much wrong here with the therapist actually asking her, "Oh, okay, are you comfortable with me?" But how does this story, in which she even says that this came up after she talked about Lebanon, turn into this story, which goes, she literally brought up that I was a Lebanese unprompted and confronted me on it, saying she is Israeli. She asked if I had a problem with that, if I felt like Israel had the right to exist. Started asking more and more if I was frustrated with Islam and have considered taking off my hijab. I asked her if she was all right with me being Lebanese, and she got really aggressive. None of this seemed to have happened back then when she tweeted this in 2019.
Yeah, give her another couple months, and then I went in there and she said, "I'm an Israeli, you're a Muslim, I must kill you." And she started stabbing me. Oh, it was horrible. I don't know how I survived.
The wounds are all gone by a miracle. I didn't even go to a hospital. I was so scared, but now it's all gone. Man.
Hey, I looked up this guy who just got 2 years in not so Great Britain, Sam Melia. He sent people graphics that they could use to print stickers, like bumper stickers and so on, and put around their neighborhood. The slogans were, "We will be a minority in our homeland by 2066. Mass immigration is white genocide. Intolerance is a virtue, and they seek conquest, not asylum." So the relevant issue here is not whether you agree with him or not. It's whether you agree that he has a right to say these things or not. And the courts have said, no, this is incitement to racial hatred, and they gave him 2 years in prison. What's amazing is you can go around Great Britain saying, "We will conquer the world. We will conquer the world." And that's totally fine. Hey, am I still on here? Hey, am I still on here? Hey, that's funny. AP's computer crashed. Does everyone still see me? He didn't freeze. His computer crashed. Welcome to the D Wood Show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the gospel, everyone. See, God created the heavens and the earth and created man in his image. We're supposed to be a kind of reflection, but we screwed that all up. We screwed it up bad, because in giving someone the ability to image God, you're giving them a lot of abilities that they could misuse as well. And so we misuse it. And this is what we call sin. And we've all sinned. What? Hey, I'm on an atheist channel. I take everything as a sign from the Almighty, so I just put it right in.
So
Your
my
PC
computer
just crashed at random?
for the first time since I got it years ago, which is very, very interesting.
That's interesting. That's a PC. And yeah, I've got a Mac. I've got a Mac that's like 8 years old. I have a totally tricked out laptop, but not my desktop that I use here. But yeah, I've been having all kinds of problems with it. You know what sucks? It's always when I update something, when they say you have to do your update on your system, and I do that, and then everything is screwed up. Like after I do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, now whenever someone is sending me, StreamYard works most of the time when someone sends me a StreamYard link. But when someone sends me one from a different platform like Ecamm or something like that, even though I can use Ecamm, when someone sends me a link to join theirs, it won't recognize any cameras and so on. It's weird. It's weird stuff.
Weird
Computers,
stuff.
man. You think they just get better and better and better, and they just suck more.
Yeah. No, by PC I also mean my laptop. But it just crashed.
Is it a Predator laptop like Daniel Hakikachu?
I have been running all kinds of tons of things at the same time here, but it was always fine with whatever I have on. And it doesn't seem to have a memory issue, but it said something about memory error.
Isn't that funny that this guy could have literally picked any laptop in the world and he went with Predator, and in his mind, he's probably not even thinking in the sense that, you know, he supports pedophilia. He's probably thinking, oh, because everything is my prey, and I'm like a beast. I'm like a beast in the jungle. I'm the predator. Not thinking, hey, dude, you're going to be defending child marriage with this laptop sitting in front of you, you stupid.
Yeah, he probably saw that and he was like, Predator? That sounds exactly like me.
Sounds so tough. It's just like the movie Predator. Ooh, I can be jumping around from tree to tree.
Yeah. I wonder if they also have. Oh, they also have an alien, by the way. Yes. So, you just brought it up. This
There's
is
an
funny.
alien laptop?
Yeah, there is. I think there's Alienware. I think that's what it is. Should be an alien predator.
This death threat on my car today. Sheikh Usman, they misspelled Sheikh and Usman. We know your car, we know your house. Stop. Dua, they misspelled Dawah or die. Saints Assam. You saints, you devils, you guys do whatever you want. We're not stopping Dawah. This is what I think.
I'm just curious about one thing.
Our hero.
Why does he have a wireless microphone right there, but the audio sounds like it's been recorded inside a toilet bowl or something?
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. Also, I mean, why wouldn't you be handing that? We know he loves to. He says he loves to go to the police and give them information. That's what he said once he escalated his. He squirted fake blood all over himself. And the kuffar, they stabbed me, but don't worry, they've captured him. I went to the police. Like, why wouldn't you hand that over to the police? That note. Ever heard of fingerprints and so on? No, you don't want to, because it's your buddy's fingerprints all over that thing.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
House, you know my car. Come do something.
Whoa, Sheikh Utman, we know your car, we know your house. Dawah or die.
Stop Dawah or die.
I've seen lots of people who have no knowledge of Arabic, no knowledge of Islam, but who still follow and comment and this and that. I've never seen anyone spell Dawah.
This is a horrible, horrible forgery, right? Like they're deliberately misspelling. They're deliberately misspelling so they can say, "Oh, see, this is not an actual Muslim, because a Muslim would know how to spell these things." My goodness, this is pathetic.
This is so bad. But we have also a genuine death threat that was received at around the same time, and that's right here. Yeah.
I'm happy to announce that I found this death threat on my car this morning. It says, "Hello, Apostate. Apostate misspelled. We know your car. We are very mad. We are dangerous terrorists. Stop Islamophobia or die. Uthman Bundy." You're disrespectful. There's even a stain of a coffee cup on here. Here's what I think of your death threat. You can never stop me. I will keep going. I'm strong.
So brave. Classic AP.
I forgot that I did this. It's so funny that you brought it up, and I'm like, hey, that was good times.
But I mean, seriously, think about it. I used to make tons of videos where I would just post collections of all the death threats that I'd received that day. I mean, if I were actually also a compulsive liar, we could be just making up stories all the time. Oh, they're trying to kill us. They said it. Oh, I got stabbed 10 times yesterday. And you can just make stuff up.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
By the way, yo, this is you and I were we had the exact same reaction. We were having the exact same reaction at the same time when we were in Israel. That's like we thought they had guys over there who were like masterminds and stuff like that, and like super advanced and like some sort of ministry of propaganda. How are we going to deal with all these attacks? And we thought it was going to be like that. And they seem pretty clueless about how to deal with certain things. They're doing it. They're doing a really good job making sure people know about the hostages and keep saying, bring the hostages back. They're doing a great job reminding people that, hey, we were the ones who were attacked here and stuff. They're doing that. But the things they're getting blasted on constantly, like, oh, a Christian can't walk down the street without people spitting on them. They do nothing to respond to these kinds of things. And all the relentless, just absolute deception that is posted about them on Twitter, they seem like completely incapable, and like it's like they're not even trying. But what it looks like is they don't know what they're up against in terms of this massive system of deceit. They still seem to think that Islam is a good monotheistic religion, and they're interpreting everything like through their own lens and not what Islam actually teaches. And it's I think most people are completely ill-equipped to deal with a system of constant, endless lying to achieve any sort of victory over you. People are not equipped for that. They're not equipped for that even in an argument. You say, you bring up a point and they'll say something, oh, scholars say this, and it's just made up, right? But you don't know. You don't know. Or like Daniel Hakikachu, the IP pointed this out. Daniel Hakikachu, he was misrepresenting every single study he quoted. And if you haven't actually read those studies, you don't know. You're taking this guy seriously in what he's saying. And it's just, the world is ill-equipped. I hope the world is starting to catch on, but people are generally pretty ill-equipped to deal with a system that just will constantly come at you with nothing but lies.
It is, to be honest, I think so. The government of Israel is, I would say, pretty much aware of what Islam actually is. The people are not very much aware. And the government of Israel doesn't want to really deal with it head on. And lots of people say it's kind of a strategic thing. Others say they don't know. They're not very capable. I don't know, but going there and seeing it, you're right. I said it to people there. I said it after we came back. It looked significantly less sophisticated and mastermindish than people make it out to be. I thought we will arrive there and we will go into this high-tech fancy place of people like, okay, this way, come this way, and then being teleported through all kinds of different places, elevators flying through the sky and stuff like that. But nothing happened. It was just a bunch of crappy places that we went to where people are just trying to protect the population and looking out for whatever there is to look out for. And yeah, people need to be aware of what we're dealing with.
Hey, you got this troll over here spamming Mahmoudunaz Khan. He keeps making more accounts because people always ended up blocking him because he just spams the same comment. But he's been doing this for what, guys? You've seen it over at least 6 months. My channel, Robert's channel, everyone just blocks him. Can't even tell. I mean, of all the slaughters that Islamists carried out over the centuries, he keeps bringing up Hatun. Like, look what we did to her. You guys stabbed her in the face and the knife handle broke.
Yeah, what did you do to her?
And then she got up and preached and looked like a total boss and a legend. And your guy ran and hid in a tunnel like he's a Hamas guy. It's a joke. Anyway, I don't know how serious to take this guy, but we'll assume that he's legit. I don't know how many times he posted it, but we'll just call it this number of Quran pages. You did it to yourself. This is 100% on you. This was not going to happen. This was not going to happen. This was your decision. This was your decision. Your actions for your profit. Again, assuming you're being truthful. And that you're not just some guy who wants to see Quran pages ripped up. Give you the benefit of the doubt, but that's the thing. We're literally here talking about lying and boy who cried wolf situations and so on. And you guys, oh my God, don't know what to do.
Here's something else that I saw today that I want to add to their lies.
Oh, that note.
No.
Uthman Bundy.
Here, these terrorist supporters are actually such low-life scum folks that they fabricated this caption here of Mia Schem, who was taken hostage, groped, mistreated, whose arm was shot, and so on. They took her interview, and I saw that this was posted. First, when this interview came out, it was posted by Daniel Hakikachu. I'm not sure if he did this, if he created it, but he was one of the major accounts that posted this. So this image was posted and was presented as if it was a true caption, as if it was true subtitles from the actual interview. And it says, "And they refused to rape me, which felt like emotional rape." Now, it's obviously incredibly ridiculous and fake. But of course, when these guys fabricate these lies, they are dealing with audiences. The followers that follow these guys around are incredibly stupid. So lots of them will probably take this as a fact and fall for it and spread it. And aside from being very incredibly stupid, they're also very dishonest. They're known to be liars, which is why the pro-Palestine and pro-Islam people are constantly being community noted on X nowadays, which is a fantastic thing. But they actually started posting this, and this is going around, and I see this every now and then being posted by major accounts, smaller accounts, trying to harass, attack, slander, and ridicule, mock a victim who was taken hostage and mistreated by Hamas by putting something like this on her. So this is what they are doing. This is what the Islamists are doing, and they feel completely comfortable with it. John Lekike spread this, and he never felt the need to say, "Hey guys, by the way, that's not real. I see now that too many people took it seriously, so I just want to clarify that this is not real." No, he just went with it because to him it's amusing, it's good, it's all right if the disbelievers suffer, if the enemies of Islam or the enemies of the Palestinians suffer, if Israel suffers.
And I mean, think why would this be justified? If she's a girl who got kidnapped by Hamas and was held hostage.
Yeah.
And then it reminds me of I mean, this hasn't even been reported much, but the Yazidis and so on who are sex trafficked by ISIS, some of them got asylum in other countries, and they're just, anytime any one of them gets an account online, they are just bombarded with oh, we're gonna do it again, how'd you like it, did you like what we did to you, blah blah blah. And it's just like, what did this woman do to you? What did she do? She did nothing to you except be raped by you. And you think you get to harass her for the rest of her life, even though she's moved to Canada and so on. And the same thing with this girl. What did she do to you except for be kidnapped and held hostage by you? And yet she's an enemy for forever.
She experiences harassment day and night by these people, all kinds of mockery, including like this guy here, 17,000 likes, just harassing her because there is a photo of her getting a cosmetic surgery, for example, and then saying stuff like, "I think she felt ugly when Hamas refused to touch her and raped her with their eyes." Like, these are the people that we're dealing with, you know? These are the people who are the liars, who are the terrorist apologists, who are the terrorists. These are the kinds of people who we are dealing with. They have no standards, no morals, no sense of empathy, no decency. This is what these people do. They are the scum of the earth.
And it's the same thing. Look at the number of likes, by the way.
That's what I mean.
They love
That's
it.
what I mean.
These are the same guys who say, "Oh, they're dehumanizing Palestinians." You got what? They're the ones who are dehumanizing people.
These guys have been dehumanizing Jews, and to be specific right now, Israelis forever. And they are proud of it. They keep doing it. They just continue doing that.
We're proud of that.
And we are supposed to just accept that and listen to them when they play the victim, when they lie, and so on. It's just amazing the kind of stuff that we're dealing with. Very, 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 very amazing. Now, what else was there? I had something up here that I actually talked about earlier. Oh yeah, earlier today, I briefly went into fact-checking something that was going around for a few days now, or since yesterday. And it might look a little bit disturbing, although there is no gore or anything. So just a reminder. And that is this. So there is this image that has been going around. And there are lots of accounts including accounts like Eyes on Palestine with like 500,000 likes and stuff like that, of people saying, oh, there is a systematic starvation of kids going on, carried out by Israel, and this kid just died, just starved and died, or this kid is starving right now and was completely healthy. This is all happening because of the starvation tactics and all of that. So I decided to just look into that. Now, it turns out there is actually an undernutrition or malnourishment of this child going on, but that's not because there is no food and because Israel is systematically starving these children. That's a completely fake narrative. That's not what is going on here. What is happening here is actually, I searched for it and I found it. So the child's name is Yazan Al-Kafarna, and the child was born with cerebral palsy. Has non-functioning or severely, dysfunctional, can't move. So it's a whole brain condition. So the child is disabled. Has never really learned to eat. Cannot eat on its own. Has to be fed through a tube and things like that. And it can be that because of the conditions of war right now, the child probably doesn't get proper medical attention and doesn't get the proper health care that the child needs. And that's very sad, right? This is a sad reality of war. And people in charge should probably be taking care of this and evacuating this child to a proper place to take care of that child. But what they're doing instead is to use this child to be so disrespectful toward their own children and their own people that they use a disabled child for propaganda, for clicks. Here is the account, Eye on Palestine. This is one of those that started spreading it. 500,000 likes for this post, saying a picture summarizes the famine in the north of Gaza. And others started sharing this whole thing as well. And it has been going around for a day now of saying, look, Israel is starving the people and children are now starving. This child is starving and dying because they have no food. That's not what is happening here. That's not what is going on here. The child is sick, disabled, and needs help and is being used now as a propaganda tool. Look at this picture. Does this look like there is starvation going on? I'm sorry, but the woman here next to the child looks in a very okay condition under the circumstances.
Yeah, most of the people, even in the videos where they're talking about rushing for food, and so keep in mind that this isn't to diminish people if they don't have food, and so because it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse the longer you're going and so on. Point is, they're still looking pretty fit and healthy. Generally. And so anyway, it's again, it sucks, but look at what happens. Aid trucks come in, Hamas seizes the aid and uses it to distribute to their own people. And people just get hungrier and hungrier. Why? Because Hamas steals all the stuff. And then when a truck is actually just going right to the people, then they swarm it because they're hungry. And that means that drivers don't even want to take the food aid in there anymore because they know they're going to get swarmed. And so it's pretty massive, pretty rough situation. They're doing airdrops. They're doing airdrops of food now. But so here again, it's when people don't call out and expose the lie and they just cheer it, and you can make anything you want up and get 500,000 likes. That encourages the lying, and that's what's been going on in Islam for centuries. And that's what Dawah is. It's, hey, I told 50 lies, but I got this guy to convert to Islam. So lying is good. Lying is wonderful.
And that's the thing, like they accuse the other side of not caring about the children and doing cruelties and things like that. And what they do here is, instead of acknowledging what's actually going on with this child that suffers from cerebral palsy and actually looking for a solution, they decide to just mislead people and take this and exploit this child for propaganda and lie about the child, and thereby they are not helping the child, they're just harming this child Instead of helping the child, they're just taking photos and saying, look, this is what is happening here. It's starvation caused by Israel. How sick, how vile, how messed up can you be? This is the culture.
But
They
it's like
lie.
a perfect little microcosm, because what these guys just did with this kid, like used him as propaganda. That's what they do with all of Palestine, right? That's what they do with all of Gaza and all of the West Bank. It's all, they don't actually care about the
Yeah.
stuff. It's all a tool of propaganda.
Exactly. It's all just that for them. It's propaganda. That's all it is. They
It's
don't
all
really
it's
care.
they're visual aids to help them lie.
Yes. Visual aids. That's when you get aids visually. So we also have footage here of shared by Palestinians, by the way, of Hamas coming and taking and stealing aid that was delivered to civilians. But it's just going to be Israel's fault again in the end.
صور البندوره اللي جايه، صور البندوره، صور الخضره. هاي البندوره، شوف البندوره. صور البندوره اللي طالعه، البندوره اللي طالعه، المحرومين على الاسرى، محرومين على الناس المسيحيين. سرقات عينه. صور الشمس، صور الشمس. شايف وجهه كيف صار مع هذا ابو احمد داخلي. شايف وجهه كيف صار الثاني.
And they're yelling at them, but to no avail, because they're strong. They have the weapons. They have the guns. They are the bullies. They are the gang. They don't care. They will just take whatever they want and leave. And then it's Israel's fault.
Think about how screwed up that is. Like, okay, guys, why are you having a war right now? Because Hamas jihadis invaded and killed a bunch of people and took a bunch of hostages. And in spite of that, aid trucks are coming from Israel into Gaza and so on. And then Hamas steals the stuff. Hamas steals all the stuff. And so people don't have it. And whose fault is it that you're starving? Israel. Like, wait, what? Like Hamas is behind every single bad thing that is happening to you. Who do you blame? It's the Jews. I really feel like a Hamas, one of these Hamas guys could just come up and just start beating people to a pulp. And then when they're on the ground, they'd be going, oh, the Jews. Why did the Jews do this to me?
The Jews did this. The Jews. Oh no, the Jews. Man, oh man, oh man. Did you see that guy who set himself on fire?
No, who's he?
Well, you don't know about the guy who set himself on fire?
Me and Robert did a show on that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We talked about it in This Week in Jihad.
So what's your opinion on people setting themselves on fire? Should everyone be doing that or no?
They're based. It's based.
Apparently some people find it very, very, very bad to joke about this, but I don't think it's
that's what's messed up. You don't want to take it in any sort of positive light. You want it to be this is ridiculous situation, as much as it sucks because this guy's clearly had something wrong with him and so on. You do not want this to become a scenario where that's going to be considered a good thing to do. If we learned anything from the movie Heathers in the 90s, it's that. And that was you probably never saw it, but they killed a girl. They killed a girl. They made it look like a suicide, but she's the coolest girl in school. So then it becomes a cool thing. Suicide becomes a cool thing to do at school.
Yeah, don't do suicide, and don't grill yourself. Don't cook yourself. Nobody needs it. It's not going to feed the kids. Not going to feed the people of Gaza. If you
the comments were all insane. By the way, it was the comments were. He had to do this because he could no longer continue fighting and supporting a genocidal blah, blah, blah. It's like, you could just refuse to work. That's what other people have done when they refuse to. If you didn't want to fight in Vietnam or something, you just, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
The guy wasn't even.
You need to set yourself on. Yeah.
He was just part of the army, right? And you could have just I don't know, deserted, just left. Can't you just get like discharged if you in America?
Well, yeah. He has all sorts of options, but what would have been the most effective given his goal? He should have just said, I'm not working, and do your worst, U.S. government, and he'd have been considered a hero, right?
Yeah.
And then as he's court-martialed or whatever, he could just constantly be posting, I will not work for this genocidal regime at all, and he'd have been a hero forever. Instead, I'm going to set myself on fire like a dope.
He was working in cybersecurity in the Air Force or something, or a rather minor position. I don't know. The guy also has a messed up background. He comes from a cult or something like that. Anyway, and cults are always amazing, which is why I want to create my own cult. Speaking of it, very nice to see people contributing and becoming members of this channel, which I will turn into a cult as soon as I can without people realizing it. And then later you will read about this in documentaries, or listen to this in documentaries, whatever. Arya Wasserman said, Mohammed, my equipment's all screwed up. Megan proposes we now call manipulative lying Muslims Machiavellians. Credit to Al Jazeera journalist Sana Saeed. Really? That's interesting. Machiavellians. That's cool.
That's funny.
For some reason, I never thought about that. Huh.
Me neither. Might start using it.
Yeah. Sleepy Eye said, hey, AP, I wanted to hear your opinion on this. Why is that Palestinians are getting worldwide support, yet the Kurds aren't much in the spotlight and nobody says free Kurdistan? This is something I brought up as well. I lived in Turkey. Turkey has a history of denying the Kurdish people's existence, calling them all kinds of different things like mountain Kurds and things like mountain Turks and things like that, denying that such a language exists, making it illegal to speak the language, slowly allowing it, but never putting it anywhere, and always killing Kurdish movements. And then we go to Israel and we see Arabic everywhere. Arabic spoken, Arabic sung, Arabic announced, Arabic written, Israelis using Arabic and being okay with it. So, Israeli Jews using Arabic and being okay with it, and so on. But it's Turkey accuses Israel of being racist and oppressive against Palestinians, and the world supports it. Nobody says a word about the Kurdish people. It's crazy. This is because it's Jews against Muslims. That's what it is. Jews. That's what people care about. Talmudic Tunnel Constructions. Great work, guys, by the way, with the Talmudic tunnels. Keep going. Says 50 quadrillion people were killed by gay frogs. Really? I didn't see that. I will have to check the news.
Hey, that might be how we should respond to some of the silly claims. Whenever someone posts something like completely ridiculous and is obviously made up, we share it and then we add something that's like 100 times more made up.
I have been doing that actually lately.
Oh, okay.
We'll
do a better job. I see it.
The other day when that thing happened and we're like, Israel just massacred 100 people today, I just said, actually, it was 1,000 people and they were killed by Hamas.
Oh, see? You should have said 1 billion.
Yeah. See? Yeah, I should go higher. Should go higher. Always go higher. Bo Ruther said, Reasoned Answers, and Lloyd the Young once had an awesome live stream on lying in Sharia law. Good for them. So what do you want me to say about this? Good for them.
He's pointing out that if people want a better discussion than the one you gave, then they could go over to that even better one.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So check out Reasoned Answers and Lloyd de Jong having a discussion on lying in Sharia. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I missed that. Deer Creek High School, Edmond, Oklahoma, had a soulful fundraiser. Be forewarned, gross and cringe. Kind of reminds me of camel pee, tongue-sucking hadiths. I saw that, and I don't want to think further about it. There was something about sucking toes. ProNode said, I got a message for free. YouTube knows what Jews like. For free. YouTube knows what Jews like. That's good. That's good. It's pretty good. Always nice to have you here, especially if you're a Jew and you want to be part of a cult. Michael, thanks, David, with an AP for your work. Did you see Ali Dawah's latest video harassing multiple Muslim shop owners for selling Israeli food? Not joking. Really?
It pretty much sounds like Ali Dawah.
That's what he would do.
Anything for clicks.
That's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
It's pretty much the same thing, by the way. Yeah. Confronting Muslim shops selling Israeli dates. Oh my god, these people. Proto22 gifted 5 memberships for the cult. Thank you so much for growing this club and making it all possible. Thank you, Proto. Always appreciate it. Creepy Sheep says slurp slurp homosexuals. Statistically speaking, homosexuals. I want to read homosexuals. Statistically speaking, it is much safer to run with scissors than it is to cut with them. The data might be skewed since we are told not to run with them our entire lives, but it's a fact nonetheless. Is that where that saying comes from? Running with scissors? I don't know.
Yeah, you were never told when you were a little kid, don't run with scissors?
I was, but not in English. That's why I never understood what it's about. See, this doesn't make any sense. Anyway, Matthew Vanson said, Preacher J. Smith says the name Muhammad might actually be a title referring to Jesus Christ. According to 7th century coins that featured his name along with the cross. Your insight on this? David, what do you see?
I mean, you can't rule it out because you just don't have enough early information, but this is kind of part of... You need this if you're saying that there was a historical figure. I mean, if you're denying that there was a historical person, Muhammad, you need to explain certain references in the Quran because the Quran mentions Muhammad 4 times. And so you need to explain that away. And so this is one way of going about that. But yeah, I think AP and I are in the same boat here that we don't buy the massive conspiracy theory. There's just, I don't know, it's too much. So
I don't buy your Ella.
Yeah, it seems quite far-fetched to me. And by quite far-fetched, I would say it seems quite far-fetched. No disrespect to anyone.
Yeah. And with that said, because I've debated this issue, it is hard to defend the existence of Muhammad to someone who's challenging it, because the main thing you look for when you're defending something, you look for early sources, and we just don't have any, right? Your historical sources start with Ibn Ishaq, and you don't even have Ibn Ishaq. You got a later version, a later edited version of it, and so on. So you don't have anything early to work with, and that leaves a lot of room for speculation about what may have happened. So, at the end of the, I don't buy the idea that Muhammad was invented.
I don't buy your Ella.
But I'm totally fine with these guys running with that theory and seeing how far it gets.
Brother, I have found.
Abu Bakr says, from your recent trip to Israel, whom do Israelis blame for 10/7/23 attacks? Failure by Shin Bet, incompetence by Netanyahu, IDF asleep, Joe Biden. I spoke to few people on this, and the general attitude is that something went really wrong, but we will talk about this once we are done with Hamas. That's what I saw from my observations.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of these people didn't think that Hamas was really capable of something that effective. And so when they start hearing these guys are invading and they're taking over and they're taking police stations, it's like, are you insane? Come on, shut up. Just no way. And it was multiple factors. They attacked during a holiday. People weren't even showing up to their posts and so on. We talked to a woman who ran one of the shelters where people can go to. She said she didn't even show up that day. It's a holiday. There's nothing that's going to happen. And then later she finds out that when she realizes there's an actual attack, this is not just some rumor that's spreading around. There's an actual attack. She goes in there, finds everyone had already been slaughtered. People had run to the shelter. They all got slaughtered by Hamas, and then Hamas took over the police station and so on. So it seems basically no one thought this was possible, and everyone thought once you start hearing, Hamas is attacking, you're thinking, a couple of guys or something like that, and the military will take care of it, not realizing that Hamas already took over the military base and so on. So it's just people massively underestimated what Hamas was capable of. They thought they were completely secure. They thought their guys can take care of all of it with no problem. And that, by the way, when I was there 4 years ago, that's the impression that I got, because we got taken on a tour by the guy who designed the fence system, and they're talking about how powerful this entire system is at keeping people out and so on. And they really seem to think no one's going to get through this stuff, and they're not thinking, these guys are going to be flying over it and going under it and going through it and coming with tons and tons of people, not just a couple of, not 2 or 3 jihadis. So yeah, I think they were not prepared for something of this scale. And when it started happening, they thought, there's no way this is happening. Because you interviewed a guy and he said he went to the military base. He's like, they're right up there. I saw them. I just ran from them, and they're treating him like he's crazy.
Yeah, that was he was at the Nova Music Festival, and they went with their friends to the to a military base in Reim, I think, which is like very close, which is basically there. And when they arrived, they said, we are being chased, or they're attacking Hamas and so on. And the guys at the military base did not believe them. They thought, you must be crazy. Are you on drugs or something like that? So plus the government had the current government led by Netanyahu had this whole policy. And I talked to different people who basically told me that it wasn't just the government, it wasn't just Netanyahu. Lots of people who had the same idea, that they can just calm down Hamas and prevent terrorist attacks by letting funds from Qatar and other sources that send funds to Hamas, by letting those funds go through, so that Hamas feels a little bit, that their needs are met and they will not attack. They will not commit a brutal attack. So they thought they have an actual deal of sorts, but they had no idea what they're actually dealing with, because they didn't properly learn until October 7th that the other side are just complete monsters. Pronode says, next time when you come to Israel, one of you comes to Israel, I want to take a picture with you. No, not taking pictures with you.
That's one of the things that suck, is there were a lot of people who wanted to hang out, and the vast majority did not work out.
Yeah. I think, David, you're going to go to Israel soon.
I'm going in December.
Yeah.
But I might go back. I might go back before then, just to record all the videos that I wanted to record but didn't get to.
Based. So you should probably take a picture with Pronode 22.
I probably want to go back up to the Dome of the Rock and just keep going there like 20 times a year. Just keep flying out there. Just go to the Dome of the Rock and talk trash.
I want to do that too. I didn't join you when you went to the Dome of the Rock, and I do regret it, as you predicted it. But there was no way I would go. There was no way I could have gone that morning. It was impossible.
It's funny, you were saying depressed, and I was just like, gosh, just the laziest guy I've ever met in my life. We're right here, and you don't want to go. What the heck? How lazy is that?
No, you don't know how it is. Yeah, it was. I was really completely incapable of going anywhere after the whole trip to the Gaza envelope and all that. Abu Bakr says, Mahmoud Nas Khan wants David Wood to give opinion about Christian churches hosting Ramadan celebrations, iftar dinner. Do you agree? Why or why not? AP, you too. I don't really care, honestly, about that. Why would you ask me? Wait. Christian churches hosting Ramadan. Yeah, no, I do care. So I would say why. That's all I want to say. David, what do you think?
Yeah, Christians really, I think, mess up a lot, because Christians do want to get along with Muslims and to have discussions and to have interfaith things and so on. They don't realize this is being interpreted in a very different fashion. It's like Christians having Muslim prayers in their churches. They don't even know what the prayers mean. There have even been instances where Muslims led Christians in praying Surat al-Fatiha, not realizing this is what this is saying about Christians. And they don't know. They just think, oh, wow, we're really getting along. So, yeah, I have to say, lots of Christians think they're impressing Muslims with how nice they are. And the Muslims are sitting there thinking, wow, these guys are stupid. They don't realize what's going on here. And so, yeah, guys, you're not impressing Muslims by convincing them that you're completely gullible and stupid and basically are begging to be conquered.
Yeah, Black Angel said AP is a Weichei, which basically means a weakling. Thank you, Black Angel. I appreciate that. 1901, Elena says, David, how do you have the Quran memorized? I'm seriously needing study tips. LOL.
I don't have the Quran memorized. I basically know the verses that keep coming up in discussions and so on.
When did you memorize the Quran? How did that happen?
Hafiz David Wood. That would be funny. You should memorize the Quran just so you can be Hafiz Apostate Prophet.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
No, I don't want to either. It's horrible. It's the worst book I've ever read in my life.
The dumbest thing I could do in my life would be to memorize the Quran.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what sucks, because I mean, I get the point when people are like, you have to learn Arabic and do all this. I'm like, why do I want to? I've got a certain number of years here. Why do I want to spend it on this thing, like doing all this extra stuff? No, I don't want to.
Yeah, sorry, Elena. Yeah, you could go study it. That's the best. I have read it several times through again and again since I left, and that's enough. And every single time it hurts. Every single time it feels like I'm torturing myself. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Alina, I would say pick a topic that you're interested in, learn a couple of verses along that topic, and have those references handy.
Inshallah.
And then just over time, you find out what the most relevant verses are for various discussions and so on.
Pronote said, I was twice at the Kisufim base while in the army for 4 months each time, and everyone would always prepare for something like this just in case. Pretty sure when we were there, so we went to the kibbutz in Kisufim and talked to people and were shown a bunch of things, and talked to a survivor that I also published, by the way. And they did, so they were aware of the dangers of living in that region. And of course, they do drills and things like that in preparation. But I don't think that they actually expected the magnitude of what happened.
That's the issue. Because if you think who's going to be attacking, it's going to be, it's going to be a little group of jihadis who somehow get through the fence and so on. You think, okay, that can be handled. Send some soldiers down there. That can be handled. Not like they're invading and taking over bases and stuff like that.
It's also like so the Israeli security forces, they really they messed up that day.
No, they screwed up. They screwed up.
And the funny thing is, people around the world don't want to acknowledge, I guess, conspiracy theorists don't want to acknowledge that the Israelis could actually be sloppy and could actually make mistakes and could mess up, because they just see Israel as these big evil mastermind geniuses who can't ever do things wrong, which is why they think, well, this must have been deliberate. They probably let them through somehow. It's kind of funny. It's like, David, like you said the other day, it's like they see Jews as these superior beings. It's like while trying to demonize the Jews, they present them as these superior beings that should be held to greater standards and that can't make mistakes. But there was a lot went wrong that day. Yeah. Ari Wasserman says, who, in your opinion, is the greatest Islamic master debater? I would say Dawah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because they all a Dawah career goes kind of like this, and that is, hey, I've got some new way, like let's say Hakikachu comes out with, I'm going to cite all these studies, and I'm going to cite all these studies and so on, and that will work for a little while until someone goes and reads those studies, and then oopsie, now doesn't work anymore, and you've been exposed, and no one takes you seriously anymore. And that sort of thing just happens. I've pointed out before, you go back 15 years ago, look at the Dawah guys. Look at the people who were Christian apologists dealing with Islam back 15 years ago. They're still doing the exact same thing. Find the Dawah guys who were Dawah guys 15 years ago. They're generally not doing it anymore. They came up with, each new guy that came along, he had his new way of doing things, his new way of deceiving people. It eventually gets exposed. It doesn't work anymore. And so look at all your Dawah guys now. Catch them 5 or 6 years from now. It's going to be different Dawah guys.
Yep. Oh, but if you're asking debater, I would say a different person. I don't know. I can't think of actually. I would say Mohammed Hijab is a good debater simply because he doesn't debate, but he actually is just focused on dominating and trying to deflect and using all kinds of fallacies and trickery, which makes him good at dominating the room while turning all of it into a giant fest of lies and insults. But can you describe that as a good debater? I'm not really sure about it.
And by the way, there's a reason that's the ideal in Islam, because Zakir Naik was, if you pay attention to what Zakir Naik was saying, he was spouting some of the most idiotic, insanely idiotic nonsense ever. And we've gone through that video that Nabil made where he went through a 5-minute clip of Zakir Naik and 25 errors. None of Zakir Naik's fans even care because he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And that's why rhetoric is sort of the goal in Islam. You want to be a good rhetorician, someone who can spout complete nonsense, can make tons of things up, but sound confident. And that's so those are the most successful Dawah guys.
Just make it look like you believe in it. XOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXO says, whenever David Wood talks about Allah like he's real, I die laughing. Allah tricked the entire Muslim community.
Yeah, I say that to people too when they mouth off a bunch, and then I post a Muhammad cartoon. I'll go, "You're going to have to stand in front of Allah, who told you not to start insult battles with people who are going to insult your religion in return, and you're going to have to explain why you completely ignored what he told you and disobeyed."
Based. Ari Wasserman said, "Is Corrumpton a kindergarten?"
Corrumpton.
It is. It is. ES 1002. If gold shower P, what is silver shower? I don't want to talk about
it. That's P with some sort of vitamin deficiency or something.
Probably, yeah. Ari Wasserman. No, it's actually if you're like very, very hydrated, very well hydrated, then that's that. Ari Wasserman said apparently Candy is a denier now.
Oh, who's that? Candace Owens?
Candace. And Candace said, blessed are the peacemakers, and Candace is smarter than everyone.
Candace. Hello, Candace.
I wanted to check Candace Owens' Twitter feed, but she blocked me. I can't check it, so that's the funny thing. That's the very funny thing. Bowie says, hey guys, got a Muslima having doubts, but she's clinging on the fact that when she prays, she definitely feels something and feels like Allah is close. What would your genuine response be? See, this is my problem with all of this.
Had the exact same issue with Nabil. And the first thing, and you'll figure it out, but the first thing you want to point out is when I started having discussions with Nabil, it was all about the evidence. It was Islam is proven true by history and science and mathematics and philosophy and logic and everything. It was just, he gave this list of all this stuff that proved that Islam is true. But guess what? That's all in the realm of the falsifiable. We can investigate that, and we did. We would go through these supposed scientific miracles. We would go through his claims about Muhammad. We kept doing this, and a couple of years goes by, and then I eventually asked him again because he stopped using these arguments. He wasn't using them the way he was before. He wasn't making these claims, and I asked him again. So why do you believe in Islam? And he said, well, two reasons. One, it makes sense to me. And two, the people I feel the presence of God on most strongly are my grandparents, and they're Muslims. And that was horrifying to me because when you're saying that history proves something, that's something we can investigate. When you're saying you feel the presence of God on your grandparents, that is not something I can prove wrong, right? In other words, you went from the realm of the falsifiable, things that we can investigate, into the completely unfalsifiable. Like there's no way for me to say that you don't feel something about your grandparents, something like that. But what you can do, and this is what I had to do, is I had to show that there's evidence that outweighs your feelings. In other words, your feelings aren't infallible. Your feelings are not infallible. And if you have enough evidence that overwhelms that feeling, then you got something there. And so I would actually explain that to the Muslima, saying, hey, I would actually ask questions. Do you think that your feelings are infallible? I would get into a discussion with a Mormon with her and say, hey, here's a Mormon saying that he knows Mormonism is true because of the feelings he gets when he prays. And then I would say that. And so get to the point where, are your feelings some sort of infallible source of information? And get her to say no, and then say, hey, well, what if we have enough evidence that it's obviously much stronger evidence than your feelings? And then go there. But again, point all this stuff out. Point all this stuff out to the person.
Facts, don't care about your facts. Somebody said Einstein warned of the Israeli state. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Einstein called himself a Zionist.
It's Einstein.
Einstein called himself a Zionist. He did have reservations about the future of what that Zionist state would be, but he said it is his dream that a Jewish state is established. So that's that. Varun says UAE recently opened a Hindu temple. Prophet Mo broke idols of Al-Uzza, Al-Lat, and Al-Manat. Would having these three in Hindu temple be anti-Sunnah? Would it attract kind of attention that it does when you eat Quran pages? Yes. Yes to all.
Yeah. So
the
UAE, lots of relations with India. India sends workers, UAE sends oil and so on to them. Lots of people keep their money in UAE. And so that's what you're finding. Very similar situation with Saudi Arabia. The countries that actually want to get along with the rest of the world are changing the system. They're changing the system. And the places that don't, the places that no, our entire goal in life is to live like we're 7th century Arabs. They're just going to get passed on by.
Yeah. Hey, I want to tweet Einstein was a Zionist.
There you go.
And see the reactions.
And I'll be, but wait, wasn't he really smart?
I just want to see the reactions of all these dumb kids who just found out about the word Zionism. Like, I can't believe this person is a Zionist. Creamo the Dreamer says, Apostate Prophet, did you have a conversation with Einat Wilf that you're going to post? And do you consider her a... Yes, I do. I did have it, and I did have the conversation with her. I recorded it, and I'm going to... It's actually the current thing that I'm working on. I'm editing it. It's about to be done, and I will publish it. The only thing that I haven't decided yet is whether I want to publish the whole thing in one piece. It's 30 to 40 minutes long, or if I want to publish them as sections, because that was my original thought. But I'll think about that, and I'm about to finish it, and we'll see what it does. It was a very, very good interview. It was the perfect interview, and we talked about Zionism and Israel and how she changed her views on Palestine and stuff like that. It was the perfect recording. John D said the split of the moon in two pieces. Allah mooning from the first heaven. That's what they do. That's what Allah does. Yeah, and Allah. That's why
homosexuality should be fine.
John D said. Michelle says. Michelle says straight out of Quran. Haha. Seriously, love your work exposing the lies of Islam with truth. Enjoy your Israel vids. How the Tad's healing. Pretty good. I haven't been putting anything on it. Where's it? Where'd it go?
Yeah, I still got this sort of red mark around it. You see that? Like,
you still have that? What?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, guys, they put this big sticker on there to keep it from getting infected. You're supposed to take it off after 6 or 8 hours or whatever. I left mine on for a day and a half, and before I finally peeled it off, and my skin was my skin was destroyed. It was all dead and peeling.
Yeah,
it suffocated. I suffocated my skin. Skin breathes.
I took good care of it. I put stuff on it all the time. Took it off early. I did get a little bit of an outbreak here.
Then I got this, so I can punch demons out of people. What?
Yeah. And then you say Christianity is not violent.
Yeah. It's demons I'm punching out of people.
So stop being violent against demons. Hey, boy says, hey, guys.
Or you read it.
Zainab Al-Harith said, give me your best guess. Why does anti-Semitism exist and so prevalent? People like to get rid of different cultures and assimilate them. When they don't assimilate and stay too strong, they're too persistent. Plus, it has a religious historical aspect to it. Plus, people don't like to share their land with another population that happens also to be very successful, and so on. There's too much there to discuss. Too much. David already answered in his head. Craig Stratton said, what if Satan is the good guy after all? He didn't kill innocent babies in the flood. See, David? Debunked.
Prove it.
Debunked. Bod Boyden, have you heard of Paul Graham's hierarchy of disagreement? Dr. Dissel, since philosophy is your wheelhouse, could you please demonstrate where Mopus, LET, and their fanboys disagree? AP, thoughts? I have heard of it. I prefer the crackers more than the hierarchy of disagreement, personally. What do you think, David? 5-word answer.
I'd have to think about it.
Good. Okay. Good.
Interesting topic, though.
Yeah. I like graham crackers. Blue Moon says, hey, brother Dawood, just wanted to say I saw your video on the POS that commented your son's passing. You are one class act sociopath. Read, rest in peace. Thank you for making brother Dawood a better man.
He said that POS, that was a bunch of them. That was a bunch of people who commented. I still get comments like that pretty much everything I post on Twitter, where I'm critical of anything. They go, oh, but your son died. And I even have to ask, hey, all of Muhammad's sons died. Is that something we should be making fun of? Anyway.
Apparently. Jesse says, David Wood, please tell AP his most humble of his humble followers appreciate his willingness to teach Candace and Jordan rather than just calling them.
It's not Candice. It's Candace.
I too was once less informed. Hey, what's the problem with Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson has had quite good takes on the whole issue with Israel and all that. I mean, Candace is as dumb as it gets. I would see. No, he thanked me for not just calling them dumb or stupid, and now I did it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't resist. Candace Owens is just terrible. She's dumb as hell. Jordan Peterson, I don't know what the problem with him is. I think he has been quite good, and he is very pro-Israel on the situation as well.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, AP does not like vocal women, especially vocal black women. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Peace be upon me, said AP David Wood. I will buy a car from you, but never from Allah, because he's a schemer. AP Saint Anselm has proven God existence. What is your argument? And David Wood too. I see. So when I was introduced to the arguments for God, I thought that certain arguments are better than others, and that argument is not one of the best.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, the Anselmian ontological argument. So Anselm's known for the ontological argument, and the ontological arguments are interesting because you can look at it and you usually can't see where there's some sort of problem in the logic, but you kind of get the impression that's like there's some word game or something going on and that you're kind of being tricked. So yeah, Anselm defines God as a being than which a greater cannot be conceived. So if you can think of something greater than God, then you're not thinking about God. So God, by definition, is a being, a greater of which cannot be conceived. And so if God is a being than which a greater cannot be conceived, well then, if you have an idea of a God who actually exists and a God who doesn't exist, the God who does exist would be greater. And therefore, even in thinking about God, you can't help but thinking about God as existing. And therefore, it's somehow built into the very existence is basically built into the very concept of God, unlike every other thing in the universe.
I wanted to be a good guy today and put it very respectfully, what I think of that argument out of other arguments. And I'm glad that David just explained it. So, yeah.
I actually like Plantinga's version better, but it's still always in your mind, like is there something going on that's just like a word game or something? I don't know.
Goan's Telepon said a goat in a barn. I thought it was deer Al-Kalbi. Deer Al-Kalbi. Ari Osman, I choose the goat since they'll believe my black lies when I give them and all their sisters Dawah all night long.
Deer Al-Kalbi is funny though, because Al-Kalbi means the dog, so it's deer the dog. That's funny. Deer the dog.
Ari said you look like a Sharmuta, so you're obviously a combatant. Rai Gazing 72. Sam Shimun is a midget said Mohammed Hijab destroyed both of these losers. Why are you making super chats? Thank you for the $2.
AP will put it to good use.
Yeah. Matthew Velasquez, I need to get a new Quran to do stuff to it. Matthew Velasquez said, hello, have you heard about the Tufed ul Mulk produced by the Ottomans in 1773? Please check Wikipedia. I'll check it out. John Choi said, free Palestine? No, free Kfir Bibas. That's the little child, isn't it? What is that? What is that? What is that? Tufed ul Mulk. Tufed ul Mulk. It sounds so familiar. What is that? 72. All right. Yeah, it's a depiction of
erotic manuscript by Mohammed ibn Mustafa Mizrahi.
Okay, I don't want to put it on the screen. Yeah,
just do a whole live stream on
it. Yeah, John Joe said free Kfir Bibas. Free Kfir is, I think, the youngest hostage that turned 1 year old. Little baby taken and kept hostage by Hamas.
Isn't it still wild though, that whole ceasefire? They've got our people there. What are you talking about? Wild stuff.
Don't you have to go? I thought you said you have to go.
I do. I'm assuming that you're going to get through these real quick. How many do you have? If you have a bunch, then I got to go. If you have a couple more, then
I still have like 35 super chats left.
Yeah, I got to go.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me see if there's anything that is.
See if there's anything that's directed at me.
Most forgiving. May your robe remain as stainless as your integrity. Thank you, Jesse. David, finish your gospel message. Interesting. Do Ali Dawah. David, you're muted. You just muted yourself. You're a mutant, David. You're a mutant.
Check. Is that working?
Yes, now. Okay. Now. That's weird.
We're proud of that.
Oh, good.
We's got to go harass these shop owners, because they be having dates. And the only dates that is allowed here is dates with possible second and third wives that we's gonna keep secret from our first wives,
Or goats,
Or goats, isn't it?
Yeah. Doshim Mayan said, hello, Rick Van and Dave. Again, would you agree that the peoples, for example, show speed who react aggressively on LY because they are Israelis should be called anti-Semites? Hate this black asshole. What is this? What show speed who react aggressively on LY? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this means. I can't figure it out. Maybe I'm completely out of touch with
only
all
because
all the references here. I don't know what this is. I don't know.
So it's referring to show speed. I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
React aggressively. Only because they are Israelis should be called. Yeah, I don't know.
Some streamer. I know this is only, but show speed because I don't know. I think that's some guy. I don't know. Just because the only case in the world right now where it's justified to attack people and harass people because they are from a certain country is when it's Israelis. You can only do that with Israelis right now.
Yeah, you can't do that no matter how many jihadi attacks come at you. You can't be at all suspicious about Islam at all. But anything that happens in Israel, any Jew on the planet is fair game.
Do you see that, right? It's like they say, oh, you can't say anything about Jews. Oh, Jews, so sensitive. And then it's like everyone is just attacking any random Israeli right now just for being an Israeli, just for believing that their state has a right to exist, just for believing in their state, just for being from there, just for coming from there, and so on. But nobody would even dare to do anything like that to somebody who identifies as a Palestinian, for example. That would be unacceptable by the populations. Free head. Nice. Head tea towels. Blue Moon, they celebrated. Wait a minute. Where's something for David? Something for David. Something for David. Something for David. Did visiting Israel change your view on something, or will you still choose the cow? David.
Yeah, I still choose no. I disagreed with the choose the cow. I just thought that was pretty hilarious. But yeah, I have to say, I mean, my goodness, how nice are people there when you're told where I was told 50 times a day leading up to the trip that I cannot walk down the street without being spit on. And I don't know, people seem pretty darn nice there.
People were very, very nice. Very nice. This trip was the perfect move. Tesla said support from South Korea. Cheer up. Okay, I think there's nothing else for you, David. I'm gonna
good.
I'm gonna kick you.
Good. I'm leaving.
Okay.
Bye.
Say thanks to everyone.
Bye. Thanks to everyone.
Say thanks. Thanks everyone. Say thanks.
And stay away from Islam.
Alhamdulillah. Oh no, too late. I wanted to.
Get the hell out of here!
Anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna read a few of these super chats here that are left, and then I'm gonna go to, because I gotta go to the goat. Jesse, thank you. Evan Thompson became a new member. Thank you so much for joining. Artie Wasserman said, "Is Frogan Mia Khalifa?" I'm not sure. Maybe it is. I'll have to check it out. Gazan said, "Palestine." Huh. Rıdvan, sen bizim kahramanımızsın. Türkiye'den sevgiler. That means you are our hero. Greetings from Turkey. I don't think that I'm your hero. I'm not your hero. I'm the villain here. I'm the anti-hero. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Venus Envy says, Mahmoud Anas Khan is spamming the chat with PDF Ilya talk. Really? Still here? Somebody please ban. Might want to kick him. Love your shows. Thank you so much. Always good to have you here. Everybody. Pedro Rodriguez, do Ali Dawah. David just did it. Chupi said, finish the gospel. Didn't do it. Ari Wasserman, what happened to Menge's CP charges? I'm not entirely sure, but he looks the part. So, you know. Dreams Walker made a super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Said, about that leather strap. You like BDSM? Totally. Absolutely. Ramon CGTC said, AP, is that circle a Kakastain? Why would you spell it like that and trick everyone? No, it's not. Switzerland played, said Sophia. Yeah, totally. 5 silver pesos. LOL. The only one to receive a death note was Chalino Sanchez. Definitely. The death note. Death note. Death threat. Death note. Huh. Now I'm thinking of redoing that video with a death note instead. Wouldn't that be funny? Avi Genuth said, enjoy some, or thank you so much, by the way. 5 silver pesos. Much appreciated. Avi Genuth said, enjoy some more Jew shekels. Have people complaining about Israel's response never read Hosea 8:7? May God bless you both. Thank you a lot. Now I want to look it up and see what it's about, as a Canadian would say. For they have sown the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. It has no stalk, the bud shall yield no meal. If so be it yield, the strangers shall swallow it up. Okay, now I need to read this again with a New American Standard Bible translation. Okay. For they sow wind, and they harvest a storm. The standing grain has no kernels. It yields no grain. If it were to yield, strangers would swallow it. That sounds pretty based. Ari Wasserman, how many of Dizzle's 40 Qurans does he have left? I think he has like an endless Quran supply by now. Or he should. I don't know. Dreamswalker, leather strap like BDSM Mohammed hijab.
This man has real problems.
Blue Moon, they celebrate terror and lie. Many that were saved by USA are here now, say thank you by spreading violence, hate against others. I'm starting to think it is the religion. I say deport. It's not the religion. Religion here is not the problem, okay? You have to stop being Islamophobic, stop being so prejudiced, and stop blaming the religion that says that those who don't believe are the worst of creatures and you're supposed to fight them and subjugate them. Okay? Yeah. Don't be bigoted. Don't be racist. Self-identified Palestinians are modern-day Canaanites. They still practice child sacrifice. Israel will always oppose child sacrifice. That's an interesting perspective. I heard people say that, and it does feel like it, doesn't it? The whole, I wouldn't say everyone, I would say people like Hamas, what they're doing is basically child sacrifice right now. Watching in Israel, Jews have an average of 2.6 children, while Muslims average 3.8 children. Do you think the Muslim Israelis will eventually overtake Israel? I doubt it. That's not even what the projected population growth points at. I don't think so. But I would have to look into that further. I'm only speaking right now with a very little guess. Dreams Walker says leather strap again. All about leather strap. You made 50 super chats about the leather strap.
This man has real problems.
Charles 714 says Takia to the hand because the truth they can't possibly understand. Yeah. Pretty much. If the trajectory continues like this, it's going to be terrible, man. Gordo's bulldozer. Do I have to wait till marriage to clap? Asking for a friend because traveling to Area 51. Yes, you have to. You have to. Capturing Kafirs with a screenshot of me suppressing laughter for some weird reason. Says, I'm in the Air Force. First the leaks a few months ago. Now a guy sets himself on fire. Why do we get all of the crazy ones? That's a good question. I really don't want to say too much about the guy who set himself on fire. Aaron something. But yeah, you have probably seen posts, Reddit posts of that guy who set himself on fire and who said, "Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine." He did post on Reddit not too long ago, basically that that the Israeli civilians who got killed were legitimate targets, pretty much, right? So that there are no civilians, that they basically deserve it by the mere fact that they simply exist and live in Israel. So that's the guy who burned himself up for his Free Palestine stuff. Why would I have any sympathy and why would I have any respect for that guy? Even if he's dead and even if he killed himself in the most brutal way, why would I have any respect, any sympathy, any empathy at all? Screw that guy. I don't care. Screw that guy. He didn't have any understanding, any sympathy for the people who were brutally killed, abducted, and so on October 7th. I don't have any for him. Some people call him a hero. I think the only heroic thing that he did is, I don't want to speak the rest out. Cars in Depth said, great rabbis, Sadia Gaon, Rabbeinu Bachya, Yehuda Halevi, and Maimonides wrote in Arabic. Ibn Ezra translated Arabic math texts for Europeans. Good stuff. There's a lot of history there to look into. Charles became a YouTube member. Thank you for joining the channel. Kars in depth said almost every aspect of Israeli military and defense establishment screwed up at many levels. A cluster F to be examined after Hamas is destroyed. That's the general opinion. There's a lot of blame game going on, but people made a huge mistake on that day, and the day will come to talk about that once the current thing is done. Michael says, did visiting Israel change your view on something, or will you still choose the cow? I choose everyone, including the cow. Joe, sub David Wood and AP. I've been a fan of your videos since starting my apologetics journey since 17 years old. I'm 21 now. God sent both. Very, very nice. Very cool. If David was here, well, he would say, like, I don't care about this. I don't care. I don't care about you. Who are you? Master Debater says, you see, Alan made AP like the evil vitamin water. You will not be blessed by Zamzam water. Search up Kiflam. It is a more legit religion than Islam. I love vitamin water. I'm glad somebody noticed it. I used to drink Coke all the time, and I switched to this because it's better. Fedor Methodist says, I almost became a Mormon, had the burning in the bosom and everything. Turned out to be a bad burrito. That's good. That's good. Glad you stopped yourself and realized. Hey boy, AP, did you feel that closeness to Allah when Muslim? How would you explain it now you're out? That's too deep of a topic. I did. I would say there was a time when I was really, really, really devout, that I thought to myself, I don't care what people say. I know that this is the truth, and I know that this is all I need to focus on, because I feel it every single day. I feel the closeness and the connection and the response when I ask for something and when I pray and all that. When I look back at it, I would say that it's just, it is a combination of different factors, including me thinking that I was connected to something and basically making myself feel good about it. Me taking my mind off of all the things that I need to worry about and instead thinking about something else, something greater, humbling myself and thinking that there's something out there that I should rather focus on. Takes the weight off your shoulders and makes you stop being so worried about your life and what you need to do. Makes you feel better. But yeah, there's a lot. I actually recorded a video about this. It was much more elaborate and much deeper, but I never published it. Several years ago. Maybe I should go back and look at that. Romeo's Dagger said, anti-Semitism is a tool of totalitarianism. Francisco Gil White explains this in a podcast on YouTube. If Israel falls, we are next. Tough conversation, though conversation channel. Love you, guy. Love you, guy. I guess that means you don't love David, only me. I think I saw that recently. Let me check that out. Let me make a note of that and open it here, and I'll look at that. If Israel falls, we are next. Yep. It says I started watching it through Conversation Podcast. Through Conversation Podcast. That's what it's called. I'll check it out. Seems interesting. But that is true. The Islamists will not be done when they are done with Israel. They will not be done with Israel. That's not going to happen. But in a hypothetical world where they would be done with Israel, that's not where they would stop. They would come for you and me next. That's how it goes. They also made that very clear for decades now. Christian says, David Wood, can we hear the goat scream? Does Islam Church have a pope? What's the hierarchy? Nope. Islam had the caliphate, and the caliphate fell. And
we're proud of that.
Yeah. And David Wood's goat is busy right now. Can't hear that. I'm very, very sorry about that. Loney Crow, hi AP. Please take a look at the most watched interview on PragerU this month. An ex-Muslim who escaped Gaza and describes how radical their society really is. His name is Dor Shachar. I think I That's the same guy that I just watched a video where he was somewhere else. Or was it that? Wait a minute. Let me check it out. Let me check it out. PragerU. Okay, I watched that video. Yeah, actually, I actually watched that video. I watched that video. In fact, oh yeah, Rebecca recommended that video to me and sent it to me and said, watch this. And I said, okay, fine, I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. That was pretty good. Pretty good. I'm glad that more and more people come out and expose the realities of what they grew up with, the standards that they live with in Islamic environments. I'm glad that people come out and support Israel. I'm happy that this is how it's going. And no matter what people say, no matter what anyone says, no matter what the conspiracy theories are, right now is the time for me as well to support Israel in this battle that they're fighting. And if people care about lives on both sides or on either side, they should hope for Israel to finish this as soon as possible, to put an end to Hamas, because Hamas continuing will just cause more and more suffering, because they are proud of sacrificing their population, of having their population killed, of continuing massacres until they reach their ideological religious goals. That's what Hamas is. Hamas has to be completely destroyed, eradicated, so that people can have peace in those lands. And I care about both sides, but foremost about Israel, because I think Israel is fighting is fighting the greatest fight right now. And I support Israel very, very much. And I'm not saying that because I'm just receiving a massive paycheck from the Israeli government and the Mossad. Like as I speak more and more and more, like every single time that I say I support Israel, I receive $500 from Mossad. I support Israel. 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 I'm going to be rich, man. I'm going to be rich. People are so ridiculous. Like, oh, you're getting paid. That's why you're doing this. Nobody's getting paid. Nobody's paid me. Okay. The only people that are paying me are people who support this channel. That's what's going on. And then some of the monetization, if it ever works. I care about Israel. And I went there and I was amazed. Ansett Lee says, please don't eat Quran next time. Instead, use ketchup to write Quran verses on pork hamburger with beer and eat them instead. Alhamdulillah. This is a good idea. See if... Wow, this is a good solution. Thank you for looking out for our health and the Quran pages. This is very, very nice. It's a very good idea. Alhamdulillah. I want to do something, and I'm wondering if I should do it now or if I should do it some other time. I wanted to review a discussion between Destiny and Piers Morgan about the Israel stuff. But I might also just wait and then do a special live stream about Destiny's debate with Norman Finkelprick when that is out, which is supposed to take place, which is supposed to be out on Lex Fridman's channel. Lex Fridman, who blocked me on Twitter. Lex Fridman actually blocked me on Twitter. So random. He said something about how no religion, all religions are about peace. And I said, nope, they're not. And then he blocked me. I'm serious. That's why Lex Fridman blocked me. Hold on, I should find that tweet actually. Should see what I said, what it was all about. That was so stupid. Lex Fridman. When did I tweet at him? Lex Fridman. And I think he even deleted the tweet that he made, to which I responded. So I guess he realized that the tweet was really stupid. Then he deleted the tweet, but he still blocked me for responding to it. critically. It's like, let's see, what is that? Let's see. Okay, this is it. Wow, let me show you. Okay, so at first I thought it might be because of a little tweet where I addressed him and talked about Islamic scholars, but this is not it. He made a tweet which he deleted, where he said all religions just teach love. And I responded to it by saying, what a terribly naive statement. Islam doesn't teach love. And he blocked me for that. That's it. I'm serious. This is why he blocked me. Look, I'm blocked. You're blocked. I'm blocked. I don't even have anything against this guy. I just think he's quite naive when it comes to these topics, politics and religion. And the guy is obviously smart, very intelligent, has great contributions to things and all that. But just because you're smart in one field, that doesn't mean you're smart in every single field, right? Wait a minute, let me see if I can find that tweet. Lex Fridman, religions teach love. Where's that? Lex Fridman, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Let's see. Oh yeah, here. This is what he tweeted. Look at this. So this is what he tweeted. Every religion teaches love. Let's focus on that. So this is what Lex Fridman tweeted, and I responded to that with, what a terribly naive statement. Islam doesn't teach love. Every religion teaches love. Let's focus on that. What a terribly naive statement. Islam doesn't teach love. He blocked me for this. He blocked me right after this. And then he deleted the tweet. How does that make sense? How does any of this make sense? I don't even understand. I was even following him. Now I can't follow him anymore. Why would you do this to me? This is so stupid. Anyway, weirdest experience. I was really looking forward to having a good conversation with Lex Fridman one day, and then he just blocks me because I tell him that this is naive. So dumb. And really, I'm pretty sure that people said things to him that were much worse than this. Really? I block people occasionally. I would never block somebody for something like this. It's just ridiculous. I block people for actual insults and harassment and things like that. Not for this. Gazan said, yes, this Lex guy is truly sharp. All religions teach love except the endless passages that don't. If we focus on love, the Middle East crisis would be resolved. I'm in love with Lex because he offers wonderfully mature and sophisticated solutions to complex problems. Hamas, love more. Israelis, love more. Problem solved. I love Gazan. I think he blocked Gad too. Pretty sure he blocked Gazan too, yeah. He also did that too. He didn't just block me, he also blocked Gazan and also others. But yeah, I love God. I love God. I love God. I believe in God. I think God is a great guy and also very funny. I love God. Definitely. I love God, said Alice. Yeah, I do too. Yes. Everybody blocks nowadays. Pathetic generation. Let me see if there's anything on that Piers Morgan thing that is actually worth watching. What is love?
About deaths in Gaza, the ratio of Hamas to civilian money.
If maybe murdering 1,200 civilians is a reasonable response to the supposed concentration camp.
It's very hard to do anything that doesn't immediately get dragged to the extremities in terms of the debate. Very hard to reach any point of consensus. You know, and I find that that's the dispiriting thing about that debate, and it may explain why the whole conflict in...
Yaguda Basich said, I find Lex Fridman superficial, uninformed, and arrogant. He's just listening if you agree with him, similar to Piers Morgan. Yeah, his takes on politics and religion are just so out of touch with the reality and quite naive. Pretty bad. He should just stick to the science and all that.
The Middle East, between Israel and Palestine, has been going 75 years and appears so completely intractable. Nobody gives an inch.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's on the ground in Israel-Palestine, you have that issue where both sides have basically their myths that Israel fashioned themselves as these poor people, these poor Jews that wandered into the Middle East and had to fight these impossibly huge Arab armies that had domineering and overwhelming force and power and coordination, when in reality, post 48, Israel was always in a decent position to fight, and that was pretty obvious in their performance in 48, in 67, in 73. It was pretty obvious that they had military capability to survive. But then on the other hand, you get, the Palestinian narrative of they were a poor, dispossessed people in their lands who only ever wanted peace. I think I saw a tweet saying we welcomed Israelis with open arms.
Oh, I'm so glad he mentioned this. I'm so glad he mentioned this.
Absolutely not true. I think that we welcomed Israel of they were a poor, dispossessed people in their lands who only ever wanted peace. I think I saw a tweet saying we welcomed Israelis with open arms. That's absolutely not true. I think that the on-the-ground narratives contribute to the conflict feeling intractable, but unfortunately, I think international.
Oh, come on! He should have gone into that further. He should have really gone into that further. How often do you see people who talk about the conflict? The pro-Palestine people, they say stuff like, "Oh, the Palestinians accepted the Jews when everyone was, persecuting them, or we accepted them with open arms and all that." I see that too often now, and it's so stupid because it's so absurd. It doesn't have anything to do with reality. Like Palestinians, the Arabs at the time were in no position to accept the Jews, or to take them in, or to take them with open arms and all that, because the Arabs were not in charge. Right? The Arabs were not in charge. They were not ruling. They were not the rulers. They were not the governing people. They were in no position to accept the Jews who were fleeing. Plus, the Jews who came from the Holocaust, from Germany, and from the taken Nazi territories, they don't make up most of the Jews who lived in the region. There were many more Jews before those arrived. Those refugees who came from World War II were a minority among the Zionists, among the Jews who lived there in 1948. Most Jews came long before that. Many Jews were in that region for millennia. So all of that narrative is just completely nonsensical. And the Arabs certainly didn't accept the Jews with open arms. They were hostile. They attacked Jews in 1920, 1929, 1930, 1936, 37, 38, 39, early 40s, and most prominently in 1947, and finally in 1948, and so on. They had no love, no understanding for Jews in the region, and Jews being sovereign. Yeah, I know. I'm just. Oh yeah, that's probably a good thing to point out. Criminal records say they attacked Jews way before 1920. That is true. Also in the 20th century before 1920, and also in the 19th century, there were plenty of attacks against Jews in the region. I am just talking within the context of British Mandatory Palestine, or the British Mandate of Palestine. They attacked Jews long before 1948. But yeah, even before Mandatory Palestine, during the Ottoman era, there were lots of attacks on Jews. They had no love for Jews. That's completely nonsensical. Glad that Destiny is one of the people who doesn't lie for these stupid things, who doesn't fall for these stupid lies.
Nationally, I think we feed into the intractability as well, because people are that conflict is so perfect for everybody to have a really strong opinion. You've got brown people and white people, you've got Jews and Muslims, you've got oppressed and oppressors, you've got Western colonial and Middle Eastern country. Like, everybody can have an opinion about this conflict because of the different parties involved, and people are so not level-headed when it comes to evaluating what's going on that they end up.
You know, the funny thing is that in the world, most people don't really care about the whole black versus white or brown versus white thing. That's something that people care a lot about in the Anglo-Saxon world. in America and in the UK and Australia and some other countries. In many parts of the world, people don't really care about that whole division there.
Hyping up both sides, and they elevate the expectations to unrealistic levels, which means neither side is really willing to actually settle for a realistic resolution that might make both sides feel a little bit good and a little bit unhappy.
What do you think a realistic resolution looks like?
I think.
What a question to ask. And I think he asked this like 20 minutes, 30 minutes after talking. After 30 minutes of talking. What is the resolution?
It's a multifaceted thing, but I would say that it has to be some kind of two-state solution, and both sides need to be willing to negotiate for peace. And this is the hard one, both sides probably need to be willing to sacrifice a little bit for peace. That means that not every Palestinian is going to be happy with the final resolution. It means that Abbas might have to suffer, even more loss.
Okay, I love Destiny. Fantastic guy. Very honest. But this was like the most vague answer I've heard in my entire life. He basically said nothing at all.
Not every Palestinian, both sides probably need to be willing to sacrifice a little bit for peace. That means that not every Palestinian is going to be happy with the final resolution. It means that Abbas might have to suffer, even more loss of his popularity, or whatever Palestinian leader rises might have to suffer more loss of popularity. It might mean on the Israeli side, similar to Begin or Rabin, negotiators for peace in the past, you might have to pay a political price for being in.
Okay, as said, I love Destiny. Very nice guy. And he's always very nice to me. So that's why I'm nice to him. Otherwise, I would hate him if he wasn't nice to me. But I would say that that the approach here is very naive on many levels. And plus, it's also very vague. Like, Destiny is not really saying anything right here. But it's also, the problem is with the question, right? When somebody asks you this question on a live stream, are you really supposed to give a proper answer here to this question? What is the solution? I don't know. If somebody just asked me, like if I was there and they asked me, okay, what do you think the proper solution is? To be very honest, there is too much going on to focus on an actual tangible solution right now. So it would be very hard for me to sit down and say, you know what, I thought this through and here's the solution. It's too difficult, too complicated, too much stress, too many problems, too many extremely controversial things to address while doing that. Lindsay says, can you guys see my comments doing a test? No, we don't see it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it, Lindsay. Very sorry. I would recommend, so I talked about Einat Wolf, and I have her books. She talked about the whole issue, and I think I asked her actually in an interview that I had with her, which I'm supposed to publish tomorrow or on Monday, about her stance on the whole two-state solution, because she used to be a leftist in the Knesset, and she did believe at some point in making compromises and giving land for peace and finding a solution and all of that. She is now completely against it because she thinks any such resolution, any such idea that you could just give land and make peace with those people is misguided. It's wrong. That's not how it works, because that's not what the other side says. The other side says, we will fight until all of it is ours. We accept no Jewish state. That's what they say. Why would you think, oh, yeah, okay, so you want to take all the land, you want to take all of this, and you think we shouldn't exist? Oh, okay, how about we give you a little bit of land here and make peace? That's a very dumb idea. It's incredibly stupid. There should be no more compromise. October 7th demonstrated one thing, which is that there should be no more compromise. There should be no hope for a two-state solution. I'm sorry, but that's just the reality of it. Especially considering that in polls, the majority of Gazans and people in the West Bank said that a two-state solution would not be enough. They want to go on until all of it belongs to them. So why would you give land in such a case? Why would you in such a case accept and give some land? Honestly, if this was my country if this was my country, my home, and the opponents, the enemy was attacking relentlessly and justifying all kinds of attacks against civilians, doing all kinds of genocidal talk, and openly saying, no, we want all of your home, all of it, all of it. Just a bit of it is not enough for us. We want all of it. I would never, ever want the people in charge to just, give some land to them in hopes that this will settle the fight and lead to a solution. I'm not stupid. I don't want my government to be stupid. They openly say that they don't want just some, they want all of it. Why in the world would you help them by giving them some of it? Don't give anything. There should be one state in the future here. One state, and possibly peace in that one state. That's the only way it can work so far, as it seems right now.
A negotiator for peace, because sometimes the Israeli people or your Knesset doesn't always support you when you're negotiating peace against either Arab states or Palestinians. But the leadership has to be there, that has to be willing to suffer a setback or some loss initially for the peace agreement. And then both people need to.
There is already enough suffering that was experienced on October 7. I don't think that there is any more suffering that should be tolerated.
Have some kind of tolerance to say, hey, listen, we might not get everything we want on the old city. That applies to Jews and Muslims, or that applies to Israelis and Palestinians. Or, hey, we might have to do a lot of land swaps in the West Bank. Hey, all of these settlements that are outside of directly near the Green Line, maybe these do need to be torn down. But yeah, the conversation, we're not even a place where
No. Zayn said Israel offered a two-state solution. What more can they do? I know they received the best offers already. Right now, there is a government in charge that will never agree to a two-state solution. Right? They will never agree to it. They're done with that thought. Like Netanyahu was pretty much talked into and forced to, at some point, offer a two-state solution, and to also tell his fellow party members and Israelis in general that they should consider a two-state solution. He gave a speech, Netanyahu gave a speech in 2009 at the Bar-Ilan University, where his entire speech was about how Israelis should make peace with the idea of having a two-state solution and finding a peaceful way to make it work. But it would have to be a demilitarized Arab state and all of that. Now, 15 years later, Netanyahu says there's no way that we will even consider a two-state solution. It changed drastically because of the circumstances, because two-state solutions were offered in the past by different people, by different leaderships, and they never accepted it because they always wanted more and more and more and more and more. Because, as pointed out, they want all of it. They don't just want some of it. They don't want to take some and say, okay, we will now make peace forever. No, they want all of it. That's what it's all about. No more compromise. That's it.
Start the conversation on that yet, because people don't even know if Hamas should exist or not, or if Israel has a right to defend itself, or if maybe murdering 1,200 civilians is a reasonable response to the supposed concentration camp conditions that exist in Gaza.
Yeah, I mean, you did a debate with Cenk Uygur, who's been on this show many times. In it, you said about deaths in Gaza that the ratio of Hamas to civilians killed were good ratios. But I'm not sure about that. I'll tell you why. The problem I have with the whole death rate in Gaza.
Oh, Piers Morgan is again going to say something like, well, there are lots of civilians dying, and that's bad. We know that's bad. Yeah, people die, that's bad. Yes, war is bad. We are aware of that. I'm pretty sure that's what he's going to say.
Especially when there's a comparison made to World War II and how many German civilians were killed and so on, is that there is a unique population in Gaza of 50% children. Now, 50% of the 2 million are under 18. That's 1 million kids running around in Gaza. And already we've seen 30,000 civilians killed, with 70,000 more wounded, many of whom are children. And that is something I've not seen in any recent conflict. And that's what makes...
Did he just say the same thing that we just blasted the Islamic scholars over? Did he really just say that? Hear what he just said. He said 30,000 civilians.
Makes it unique. That is 20,000 more wounded.
What?
That's 1 million kids running around in Gaza. And already we've seen 30,000 civilians killed with 70,000.
30,000 civilians. Piers Morgan, what is wrong with you? Is this a mistake on his behalf? Is this just a mistake? Did he forget about the numbers and just get confused or something? Or does he really at this point believe that 30,000 civilians have been killed? What? This is so stupid. Have me there, Piers. Have me on there. Okay, I want to come and tell you what in the. Are you even listening to the guys that you're inviting on your show? Are you even listening to the guys that you are having discussions with? Are you even checking the statistics? Are you checking the numbers? Are you actually looking at the news and what they say and analyzing the words and the numbers behind the things they say? We have 30,000 deaths according to Hamas. The UN says there is no way to actually verify it. There are 30,000 deaths according to the Hamas health officials. How in the world would you say that those are civilians? Oh my God.
1,000 more wounded, many of whom are children running around.
Did I hear this right? Am I?
Of the 2 million are under 18. That's 1 million kids running around in Gaza. And already we've seen 30,000 civilians killed with 70,000 more wounded. Many.
All right. So let's see. Let's look up the easiest to find the numbers right now. Israel-Hamas War casualties. There it is. Very easy. There it is. Look. I Google it. There it is. Israel-Hamas war casualties. It comes up. It's right here in front of your face. 30,000. 30,000 people. 30,000 people. 30,000 killed, according to health ministry, according to Hamas health ministry. Now we go into it and see, are these actually civilians? Like, let's say the data here is accurate, right? Let's say the data here is accurate. And actually, yes, 30,000 died. Are they civilians? In order for Piers Morgan or somebody to come here and say 30,000 civilians have been killed, we would have to conclude that every single person here, or almost everyone here killed here, is a civilian, right here. You must conclude that everyone who died, everyone who got killed here in Gaza was a civilian, so that there were no Hamas terrorists that were killed. Basically, that's what we have to conclude here. Piers, I'm sorry, but are you stupid? Gosh, this is such misinformation. This is so ridiculously idiotic and retarded. This is so dumb. Even by Hamas's own statements early on, they said, with their exaggerated numbers and with their, appeal to emotions and all of that, and their propaganda, they said at some point that 70% of victims are civilians. So even if you trust that, and I don't trust Hamas for a second, but even if you trusted Hamas, you would have to conclude that 30% of deaths are not civilians. Even Hamas is not making this ridiculous claim that Piers Morgan is making right now here. I'm not sure if he's doing it deliberately or by mistake. He's even doing a greater misrepresentation of the numbers than the terrorists themselves do. I'm not sure if he realizes that. Wow, man. This is ridiculous. Disgusting, actually.
Of whom are children. And that is something I've not seen in any recent conflict. And that's what makes it uniquely horrific to people.
I agree that it makes it uniquely horrific to people. I think it's really important to have a good understanding of why.
I think Destiny didn't catch the issue there. Pretty sure this guy is aware of the numbers.
International humanitarian law, or more specifically, international law of armed conflict exists. I think that people have a really poor understanding that the law of armed conflict exists to make it so that the fight is even on both sides. But that's not true. It exists for two very important reasons. One is to protect civilians, and the second is to ensure that nations have a right to defend themselves. If either one of these fail, nobody would care about the law of armed conflict. I think the difficulty that Israel has right now in conducting their war against Hamas is that their cause for war, wanting to do something about Hamas, I think is undeniably righteous. That if you've got an organization that comes in, they kill.
Thank you. Thank you. First good thing I heard so far.
Some 1,100, 1,200 citizens, and then they, capture hostage 200 more. Not only has Hamas not had a good cause for war, not only have they committed multiple war crimes in the actual commission of the October 7th.
Thank you. God damn it. Thank you. Thank you. Is that there's one person here, one person that actually goes out on TV to say something crucial that needs to be said, and that none of these idiots out there who are having these discussions ever even address. That Hamas on that very day committed multiple war crimes. You hear war crime, war crime, war crime, war crime. Israel is accused of war crimes. Is Israel committing war crimes? Israel war crimes, Israel war crimes. Hamas started that very day with multiple war crimes, with numerous war crimes, including taking hostages. That's a war crime on multiple counts, hundreds of them. Which is why the ICJ said that it needs to be condemned, and Hamas must unconditionally and immediately release all hostages. And Hamas didn't comply with it yet. Yeah, that's what the ICJ said in their preliminary ruling on January 26th. Is that when it was? That's where they said that Hamas must unconditionally release all hostages immediately. And despite Hamas saying that they will accept any outcome from the ICJ, they have so far not complied with it at all. Meanwhile, Israel did comply with all requests that the ICJ made, and just a few days ago submitted a report on everything that they have done to improve the situation, and a full report on how things have gone so far on their behalf, which the ICJ is reviewing right now. Hamas didn't care at all about what the ICJ said. Despite the ICJ telling them, release all hostages immediately and unconditionally, Hamas didn't do a thing. They must release the hostages because that's a war crime. Hamas executed people, combatants and non-combatants on that day who had no means to defend themselves, or who were fleeing, or who were submitting and giving up. They executed them at gunpoint, point blank, which is a war crime. Multiple counts. They tortured people. That's a war crime. They stepped on them, publicized it. It's a war crime. They went into the civilian population and attacked. That's a war crime. And so on. War crime after war crime after war crime. And everyone is talking about whether Israel is committing war crimes or not.
And then they...
And yes, the response from Israel is completely justified. It is completely justified. I don't give a damn about the emotions from the other side that celebrated October 7th. The response is completely justified. It is a just war, and the number of people who were killed does not say anything about whether it's justified or not. It doesn't say a single thing. If 100,000 people died as a result of the war after Israel's response, it wouldn't say a single thing about whether it's justified or not, whether it's a genocide or not, whether it's worthy of condemnation or not. It wouldn't say a thing at all. That's all just based on emotions. What matters in a war is whether the cause of the war is justified or not, and whether the means of the war are justified or not. You can have 10,000 people dead. You can have 50,000 people dead. You can have 25,000 people dead, 30,000 people dead. What matters is the principle of proportionality, which people also recently started taking out of context and thinking, oh, it's about numbers. It's because Hamas only killed 1,200 people, and Israel now killed 30,000 people. That's much more than 1,200, which is why it's a war crime and it's wrong. That's not how it works, idiots. That's not how anything works. The principle of proportionality is that when waging a war, the one side in the war has to make sure that they minimize civilian casualties, and they have to, if asked, be able to demonstrate that the civilian deaths were not avoidable or easily avoidable, that the civilian deaths were pretty much necessary, that there was no way around it. I'm pretty sure that Israel can demonstrate that they did their best to minimize civilian casualties. Pretty sure they have their reports on that ready. They have the lawyers on it ready, and they can demonstrate it. The other side cannot demonstrate at all that Israel has genocidal intent, which is a ludicrous, ridiculous accusation. That they deliberately targeted civilians and killed civilians. That they could have easily done it without targeting civilians, but they just did it for fun and so on. All of that is nonsense. If you can prove that the number of civilians who were killed was necessary, that it's not extraordinary, that it was necessary in the war in order to hit military targets, it's justified. Not by any moral standards, not by me, not by my opinions or anything like that. That's international law. That's the principle of proportionality. That's how it goes. Nobody gives a damn about how people think, how many people should be killed or should not be killed. That's not how it works. Plus, yes, somebody just pointed it out. Davy Boy said Hamas threatens more October 7th over and over again. That's what they said. Yeah. Why in the world would you not relentlessly go there and try to take all of them out, all of Hamas? Israel is providing safe corridors, fighting to provide international humanitarian aid, and so on. If Israel was doing everything that Israel is accused of doing, there would be no talks, no discussions about humanitarian aid and how it should be delivered. There would be no population left. And Israel is very much capable of carpet bombing, fire bombing, getting rid of the population. If that's really what their goal was, they would have done that, and we wouldn't be talking about how to deliver the aid right now. But yeah, no matter what you do, it's never enough. Nose 2 said, did Destiny say Israel had it well in 48? That's dumb. The US put an embargo on Israel, barely had weapons, attacked from all sides by Arabic Islamic states. Yeah, that's true. He did say that. He did say they were very well off. I would have to disagree with him on that as well. And I don't know, I might join him tomorrow or something and discuss with him on his own live stream. Is he live right now? Let me see. Maybe I should just jump on there. No, he's not live right now. I should talk with him about that. One of the most prominent things in 1948, when the Arab states attacked Israel, was that Israel is caught in a very difficult situation with arms embargoes. In fact, there's a headline that I remember. Hold on. Arabs invade Palestine. That's a very funny article, by the way, which people don't talk about, which I should talk about. Yeah, here, look at this headline here. Palestine invaded by Arabs. Arabs invade Palestine. Syrian Lebanese forces strike at dawn. Egyptian attack reported from south. Palestine invaded by Arabs. But hold on a minute. I thought Palestine was this country that is like where these indigenous people who are referred to as Arabs lived. No, Palestine was this region. Jews were also called Palestinians because they are in that region, because they live in that region. And the Arab nations invaded Palestine, this region, in 1948. And I think one of these articles said something about that. Yeah. Arab armies invade Palestine, reach Gaza, bomb Tel Aviv again. U.S. considers lifting arms ban. Yeah, here, there it is. This is the title. This is the headline that I remember. From the New York Times, U.S. considers lifting arms ban. Lots of people at this time thought that that Israel was caught in a very difficult situation. And Israel turned it around and kicked their asses and defeated them brutally, and they have been crying about ever since. They should cry harder. Yeah. Okay, anyway, I listened to enough. I'm gonna go now. Just a few super chats here. Rabbi Nabil Higab says, Destiny said Finkelstein was misquoting Benny Morris' books the entire debate. I saw that too. He said the guy has no idea what he's reading. I need to check that out. Malibu Cross, do you think anti-Semitism has increased or decreased in the Muslim world? It was always there. It's just all out there now. I don't think there has been a real increase. It doesn't matter what happens in the world, it's always there. The Nubist girl, you and David should buy Qurans wholesale. Love you too. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Nubist girl. We should. D. Woodrow, are Palestinians aware of every archaeological find in the area being of Jewish origin? No, it was actually Palestinian. Jesus was Palestinian. Adam was Palestinian. Abraham was Palestinian. Allah was Palestinian. Everything was Palestinian. Defense. But they're not aware. There is a thing which I brought up when we were walking through the archaeological digging site. That was when we were accompanying Michael Rappaport during his bar mitzvah, which he got at the age of 53. We were walking through that place, and I suddenly remembered something that we watched here together from Hamas's Al-Aqsa TV, some propaganda piece, where they were telling the little kids that the Israelis, the Zionists, the Jews are digging under the Dome of the Rock because they want to make it collapse and destroy the place and kill Muslims or some dumb stuff like that. When in reality, the Israelis are digging to discover history and discover the roots, and they're finding great things. It was funny to be there and to then think of what Hamas teaches their own children and what the Jews are actually doing. Many people in the Palestinian territories, especially in Gaza, they don't even believe in the Jewish temple. They think that that the Zionists, the Israelis, the Jews created a fake narrative of a temple to justify their presence there and to cover up the fact that it was always a mosque. I know this sounds crazy to people outside that conflict, people familiar with the history of the religion, but that's what they are actually teaching the kids. They're teaching the kids in Gaza that all of this is a lie, that there never was a temple, that the Jews are just making this up, and all that kind of stuff. They are liars. That's what I'm saying. They are liars. Lying is part of their culture. Lying is part of the religion. That's what they do. In fact, you know what? Since some people are here and they're like, you're a liar. How about let's look at that. I hope those trolls stick around to see that. If I can just quickly find it. Let's see. Tomorrow's Pioneers. Let's see. Gaza's political children's show, television message to parents, Farfour is dead, brainwashes Gaza children to hate. Come on, where'd it go? Mickey Mouse martyred. Oh my God. Pioneers of Tomorrow Children's Show, Al-Aqsa TV, 2022. Very recent.
عن المسجد الأقصى.
إنه عاصمة فلسطين لازم إحنا ندافع عن القدس ونخليش اليهود يهدمها.
يعني إحنا لازم نقاتل اليهود؟
This is so bizarre, man. Imagine this is how you raise your children. I'm thinking of my own kids, my son watching Mickey Mouse actually earlier today. And just learning about all kinds of sweet, cute, useful things. And then you are here in Gaza growing up and you turn on the TV for your kids, or your parents are turning on the TV. That's what you do when you grow up. When you're growing up, you usually don't have children. So your parents turn on the TV, and this is what the TV says.
عن المسجد الأقصى. إنه عاصمة فلسطين لازم إحنا ندافع عن القدس ونخليش اليهود يهدمها.
We must not allow the Jews to destroy.
يعني إحنا لازم نقاتل اليهود.
We must fight the Jews.
خلي اليهود يخشوا على الأقصى. وأنت بتحب الأقصى ولا بتحب بابا أكتر؟
This is so. Do you love the Al-Aqsa Mosque or do you like your daddy more?
بتحب بابا أكتر؟
بحب الأقصى.
I love the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Smart girl. Smart girl.
شطورة من بابا كمان.
This is. It's almost like a cult. It's like I know it's shocking, right? But this is what they teach children. This is how they raise them in Gaza. It's like they turned Al-Aqsa, the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the compounds, the Dome of the Rock and so on, they turned it into an idol almost, and turn it into a thing that they worship and long for, which is why they believe in fighting and dying for it, to take it over and never allow the Jews to be in control of the Temple Mount. It has to be theirs because it's the most important thing in the world. It's more important than your parents, more important than your own life. You would die for Al-Aqsa. This is how they are. This is the kind of ridiculously insane, crazy stuff that they teach there, which is why when you walk through Jerusalem, for example, you see things like these on the wall. Yep.
بابا كمان ولو احنا مشينا بشرائع الدين وتمسكنا بالدين وكنا أمة واحدة وصلينا الفجر في المسجد
So if we abide by the Sharia and adhere to Islam,
وتمسكنا بالدين وكنا أمة واحدة
and if we would be one nation and we would pray the Fajr prayers in the mosque,
وصلينا الفجر في المسجد واتبعنا الشرائع الدينية
then Palestine would be liberated, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what you need to do. You just need to be a good Muslim, just do all the prayers, then you will be united and you will liberate Palestine, which means eradicate Israel. Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do. That's all you need to do. Just keep going. Keep going.
أكيد حتتحرر فلسطين صح ولا لا؟
بالتأكيد. يعني أول حاجة يجب علينا إيش؟ نلتزم بطاعة الله عز وجل والصلاة في المسجد ونلجأ إلى الله عز وجل وعلينا بالدعاء. صح ولا لا؟
صحيح.
وأيضا الجهاد
في سبيل الله. الجهاد.
We must wage jihad. Yes, children, we must wage jihad for Allah.
هو ايش يا فكور؟
هو طيب مو احنا لازم نعرف حبايبنا.
Here, children, we must also know that the criminal Jews are plotting.
الأطفال أيضا إن اليهود المجرمين قاعدين بيخططوا وبيعملوا أنفاق من تحت
They're digging tunnels under the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
ايش المسجد الأقصى المبارك عشان ايش يسووا؟ نسيت ايش بدهم يعملوا الهي بدهم يحطوا بدل قبة الصخرة الهي ايش اسمه؟
هيكل انت الحفريات هذا
The false temple. This is what they teach the kids. Look at this. This is how you make a whole generation of kids stupid. And then they turn into terrorists. This is what they're teaching the children on TV. We must know that the criminal Jews are plotting and they're digging tunnels under the Al-Aqsa Mosque in order to to build the temple, the false temple, instead of the Dome of the Rock. That's what they want to do. This is what they teach children.
ايش اسمه؟ هيكل المزعوم. انت الحفريات هذه اللي تحت المسجد الاقصى هيجي يوم ما راح يضل شيء تحت المسجد.
And all that evil with this kid's logic here. They will dig and dig and dig, and one day there will be nothing remaining under the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
تحت المسجد الاقصى والمسجد الاقصى.
طب هم ايش بدهم يسووا عشان
And it will collapse. It will collapse. That's what they're doing. That's what the Jews do. That's what Jews do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
The evil Jews, the criminal Jews, they're digging. They want to dig under the Dome of the Mosque, Dome of the Rock, because eventually when they continue digging and digging and digging and digging, there will be no ground left, just like in those cartoons, you know? And then it will suddenly realize it's in the middle of the air, and then it will go, and then they will build a temple, the false temple. That's what the Jews do. That's what the Jews do. I don't know how else to describe this except a completely retarded culture that is just fit to raise terrorists and hateful, ignorant, completely uneducated, dumb beings. That's what the aim is, at least, by Hamas here. And then you're wondering why there is a war, and why there's a conflict, and why there's terrorism, and why they do such horrible things to people.
الاطفال بدهم يعرفوا ايش هم مخططهم الكيان الصهيوني ايش بده يسوي
بدهم يحطوا يعني زي ما بيسموا او هيكل
They want to build the false Solomon temple.
سليمان المزعوم كما قلتم يعني. طبعا هذا الشغله نأكد غير صحيح. او
I want to stress that this is not true. It never existed and it never will be built. This is what they teach. Yeah. So everything that you learn in history, everything that you learn about the religious history of the region, all of it is just is false. There never was a temple, according to Hamas TV. This is what they teach their children, and then they blame the entire violence and everything on Israel. If you support these guys, then you're supporting ignorance, stupidity, terror, hate, and I don't know what you're complaining about when you get what you ask for.
وما له وجود اصلا يعني وما راح ينحل. فلسطين موجوده والاقصى موجودين.
رائع. ما ننساش ايضا عشان المسجد الاقصى وعشان ندافع شهداء ضحوا في المعركه صح ولا لا؟
جرحى واسرى كمان.
واسرى وايضا مبعدين.
So this is what they think. This is what they teach their children. Oh, we're just here to fight for Al-Aqsa, and we are supposed to love it more than our parents and our own lives because we're stupid. And we're stupid. That's what we're supposed to do.
You know,
we're stupid. We're not smart like the Jews. We're stupid. Fucking idiots. Zainab al-Harith said, did you notice in Israel that the more right-wing elements in our society are from the Arab land? Proximity to Islam, unlike the self-critical Ashkenazis. I did notice it. You can see that in polls as well. Ashkenazis, Jews tend to be much more liberal, left-leaning, not overwhelmingly, but are much more likely to be so. And that's so ironic, because the demographic of Jews that is that will be most tolerant toward the Arab or Muslim population are the Ashkenazi Jews, statistically seen, but they are also the ones who are always vilified and depicted as evil people, as fake Jews, and all of that by those very people that they're trying to help. That's the way the world works. Thomas Villiger said, here is an interesting interview with a Muslim woman living in Israel. I think I saw that. I think I saw that too. I'll have to check it out. Let me make a copy of this and I will check it out. I will check it out as soon as I can. And said Lee, instead of buying weapons, we should have learned from these ham guys and built kindergartens along our coast and every strategic points. Jeremy Mott, Israel wants peace. Hamas wants to exterminate the Jews all over the world. Israel tries to defend civilians on both sides. Hamas doesn't. This is exactly right. That's how it is. Defense. You just hate Muslims. Come back to Turkey. We miss you. No. Rabbi Nabil Hijab said even a Hiroshima bomb that killed around 100,000 civilians in the first day wasn't considered as genocide by international law. It's considered saving millions of other lives. And you know what Japan did? So the bloodthirsty Japan, when they saw that lots of their people will die if they don't stop this, they were like, okay, we surrender. Hamas doesn't care. To Hamas, their population is cannon fodder. That's it. Christina says, why does Israel refuse to acknowledge how bad Islam is? There are so many layers to it. There is an issue. There is the reality that Israel has a very large Muslim population, like 20%, almost 20% Muslim population. And Israel is trying to have very good relations with every single person who is inside Israel and who will be in Israel. So even the conservative aspect of Israeli politics tries not to have a beef with Islam in order to not make it look like a religious conflict, because that doesn't really help. They're trying to make it more about extremism and terrorism, because the last thing Israel would want would be for the Muslims and Arabs inside Israel to, rise up and help the other side because they're somehow offended, despite the fact that they're living good lives within Israel. And so Israel tries to not make this about Islam and tries to have peaceful relations with the own population, and tries to also kind of detach the Muslim population from the sentiments on the other side of the border. And it works. Muslims in Israel are significantly more moderate compared to Muslims on the other side of the border in Gaza, for example, are significantly less practicing, significantly less radical, politically radical, and all that, are more accepting and tolerant. Most Muslims within Israel say that they have favorable views of Jews. I think it's even like the only place in the world where there is a significant Muslim population that is actually attached to their own religion and that views Jews well. No, there are polls. Like, there is a Pew poll which shows that near 60% of Muslims say they have a favorable view of Jews inside Israel. On the other side of the border, in Gaza, 99% say they hate Jews. So in the Palestinian territories, 99% of Muslims say they dislike Jews, whereas in Israel, more than the majority of Muslims say they like Jews. It works, what Israel is doing works, and they don't want to mess that up. It wouldn't be pretty. Yeah, and lots of Israelis also think Islam is not the problem. I'm telling them it is, but I'm also not trying to really convince everyone so badly right now. I would like to help them as much as they need it. Immortal 17 said Jews destroyed over 28 billion people in Gaza. Really? Is it 28 billion now? It was just 27 billion yesterday. Huh. Pretty bad. RJ Solomon, how do you think this will all resolve? As a young Jew, it says terrifying time to be alive. It feels like this hatred of us will never end. I don't have the answer. I just hope it all goes well. And yeah, wish for the best. I'm going to leave. Thanks everyone for staying and listening and joining and watching and all of that. Also, a quick shout out once again to a person that I recently discovered. Actually, she discovered me, and then I discovered her in return. Rebecca, fantastic person and voice, great potential for a future YouTube. For a future YouTube future. Rebecca here, Rebecca Barsev, she helped us a lot in Israel. Was extremely helpful. Is very intelligent, has very good insights into lots of things. Make sure to follow her, Rebecca Barsev. And yeah, I think she should grow, and she should be a YouTuber, and she should be bigger than I am. Not physically, but in subscriber counts. She's awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic day. And as always,
lose faith. I tell you, lose faith. It's better for you.
or in other words,
stay away from Islam.